Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with Tru Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching Tru Heel Heat podcast.
It is Sunday, and you know what that means. Oh, well, no, you don't probably, because we're usually here on a Saturday. But it is a Sunday, and yes, we got a special edition of the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast, discussing all of the latest wrestling news from WWE, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, and more. And we got a busy week to discuss because we have everything from NXT, Halloween Havoc, and TNA Bound for Glory last weekend. This weekend, we had WWE Crown Jewel and all the major news and shows in between, including WWE latest batch of releases with Baron Corbin, Indi Hartwell, and Tegan Nox no longer with the company. You got Rhea Ripley down with a serious injury. Vince McMahon wants to start his own entertainment company. Dear Lord, what does that mean? What is entertainment to that man? I don't know, and I probably don't want to know. Goldberg announces his retirement matchup for next year. Bobby Lashley debuting over in AEW. We have new AEW World Tag Team Champions, and the Young Bucks are taking time off from All Elite Wrestling. All of that, plus much, much more, plus predictions, final predictions for Power Struggle, as well as Fighting Spirit Unleashed from New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast. Let's hit the intro. Hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Romeo's Twitter for Tru Heel Heat 301 released into Hurt. Discussing the latest wrestling news, including WWE releasing Baron Corbin, Tegan Nox, and Indi Hartwell, Rhea Ripley suffering yet another serious injury. Recap of this weekend wrestling with WWE Crown Jewel yesterday, featuring Cody Rhodes and Liv Morgan winning the first ever Crown Jewel championships. SmackDown featuring the OG Bloodline reunion. Raw featuring Sami Zayn getting back into the Bloodline business. NXT Halloween Havoc featuring Bubba Ray Dudley ending the show, saving Trick Williams. NXT AEW Fright Night Dynamite featuring Bobby Lashley's AEW debut. You had Collision featuring more OC versus BCC drama. Rampage, ROH TV, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Super Junior Tag League final week. TNA Bound for Glory featuring JBL screwing Joe Hendry and Impact. Plus, we got final predictions for Power Struggle and Fighting Spirit Unleashed from NJPW. And no Krssi Love this week. Shout outs to her. She had a loss in the family. So we want to send our prayers, send our thoughts to Miss Krssi Love, and send this dedication to this podcast for her and the family. But of course, I am joined by the true draw himself. Josh, how are you feeling?
I'm doing good. A lot happened this week. I didn't even really. I was like, oh shit. A lot happened. A lot to discuss. Some stuff that maybe I could catch up on from last week because I was only on for an hour. So we'll see.
You got all the time in the world now. You know, Krssi is not here this week. Now you're in the 2 position, and you got all the time to call people bums and roast on people. You were in rare form. That might have, even though you were only here for an hour, that might have been one of your greatest performances on the flagship.
I've been told.
Even Krssi was like, God damn, Josh, that's maximizing your minutes. I appreciate that. That was a Chelsea Green level effort from you last week. We appreciate that. But we also appreciate all of y'all who are joining us live. We appreciate y'all if you're joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're joining us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back. The simplest way possible is by dropping a thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys. You guys are really a co-host of the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel on anything we do, whether it's solo, whether it's 2 of us, 3 of us, 4 of us, 5 of us, does not matter. You guys make the conversation go and really love the flow of what we've built here with the community here. Shout outs to all of you for helping us head to that 300th episode from last weekend. And we appreciate y'all if you're joining us for 301. But of course, if you want to show your appreciation to what we do in the best way possible, in the biggest way possible, and keep the train moving, you can send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here. And we always appreciate that kind of support. We got G Loke in the chat joining us today, who says, what it do at Tru Heel Heat, Maine. Smash up that like and let's go, my THH fams. Absolutely. Shout outs to you. We got Eddie James in the chat saying good morning. Good morning to you, Eddie James. Good morning to everyone watching today. We got I Make Beats, one of the members of the channel. You can hit the join button and become a member for just $1 a month and always be a part of the conversation in the chat. He says, best of luck to the release people. Losing jobs ain't cool, especially not before Xmas. Yes, indeed. That is very true. Vala B says, can't believe Corbin, of all people, got let go. Yeah, I thought Baron Corbin would be a lifer. Like especially with the push that he got and everything. But I'm also not surprised because if y'all remember in 2018, they tried to blame their bad booking on him. So yeah. I'll never forget Constable Corbin. We got Vala V who says, sending my love to Krssi and her fam. Indeed. Thank you for that. Appreciate that for sure. Keep coming with those comments in the live chat. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family. Become a part of the conversation. Send a super chat donation. But we're going to start off this flagship podcast, and we start off every flagship podcast here on the channel with the Tru Heel roll call, shouting out those who supporting us across social media, as well as here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel and our Patreon. We got our top 3 conversation starters, our Tru Heel Trinity over on Facebook. We got biggest bad boys of podcasting, Rion Eagle and Stewie John Palmer. Once again, the same top 3 as the last couple of weeks. Patreon backers, we got Vala B, Alan Weinstein, Negro Buck Nick Jackson, Alex McCarthy, Professor Chris, Trey, Robert, Steve, Ladarius, John, a.k.a. Russell Scopes, Dan, Kobe, Dolores, John Martin, DJ Eric, Marcus, James, Alan, and Sento. Thank you so much for supporting us over at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content and the best place to support us when we are not live here. But let's without further ado, let's get into things. Josh, why don't we? And start off with yesterday's big show, WWE Crown Jewel from Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. You know, the beautiful and progressive city of Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, which I had to hear ad nauseum yesterday.
I was getting sick of it. I was getting sick of it. I don't give a shit about the city. I was getting sick of it at this point.
Sports washing is a real thing, folks. If you don't know the definition, look it up or just watch WWE. WWE Crown Jewel, the show featured the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes defeating Gunther in an excellent main event to the show to become the first ever men's Crown Jewel champion. This was a 23-minute barn burner between these two men. Cody coming out with the victory in the battle of the two top champions for the men's division. In the women's division, you had Liv Morgan picking up the win over Nia Jax in, I think the polite way to call it is an overbooked mess of a match. This was the shortest match on the show, and it had the most amount of interference, but Liv Morgan did get the big win, picking up the win to become the first ever women's Crown Jewel champion. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens match never started after the two men got into a wild, intense brawling into the crowd, featuring Orton giving an RKO to Adam Pearce and making Aldis run away, and the brawl ended with Kevin Owens delivering a flying elbow drop from the stands through Orton on a table. Seth freaking Rollins defeated Bronson Reed in a very good matchup that featured a lot of brawling as well. Bronson Reed once again coming up short in a major matchup, this time in his first singles match on a premium live event. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill beat Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, Damage Control, and Metaphors Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson in a fun four-way matchup to retain the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. LA Knight, defeated Andrade and Carmelo Hayes in a damn good triple threat matchup to retain the United States Championship. And you also had the new Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu. They beat the OG Bloodlines, Roman Reigns, and the Usos in a decent little opener to the show after Solo pinned Roman Reigns for the first time, the biggest win for Solo Sikoa in his run as a top heel in WWE. Post-match, the new Bloodline beat down the OGs, including Jey Uso, making a save, sacrificing himself for Roman. He was about to get nuked by the new Bloodline until Sami Zayn came out and chose to help them. The OG Bloodline surrounded Solo before Roman went for the spear at the same time that Sami went for the Aluva kick, hitting Reigns in the middle of the ring. Jimmy Uso got in Sami's face until Jay had to separate them, while with Zayn walking out on the OG Bloodline while Roman came to. So a lot to unwrap from yesterday's show. Me and Josh, we said a lot of thoughts on yesterday's review. Check it out right now. But we got a third member of the team joining us today, all the way, the resident Tru Heel alcoholic himself, Top Guy JJ, here on a Sunday. Good
shit.
Brother. How you feeling?
I woke up and said, I'm not going to work. It's a marathon today. There's no way in hell I'm making it across the Arizona Bridge. So I said, I'm going to do some errands and vote and all of that good shit. So figured I'd, take some time. I was like, oh shit. Let me pop one here. I was like, oh shit, y'all on a Sunday. Let me stop in for a little bit. But yeah, read a little bit of the chat. Just want to send a quick shout to Krssi and send her my best wishes, and hope her and the family is all good. Sorry for the sudden loss in the family. Those are never easy to deal with. Would have loved to see her, but obviously spending time and being with the family is of utmost importance right now. So shout to you, prayers to you, and condolences for your loss.
Absolutely. Like I said at the top of the show, this is for her and the family today. We miss you, Miss Krssi Love, as always, but spend that time with the family. But yes, Top Guy JJ, we talked about Crown Jewel a lot yesterday. We gave it a mixed review. I gave it a thumbs in the middle. I think Josh maybe gave it a thumbs in the middle, thumbs down. What did you think about Crown Jewel yesterday from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia?
I had to watch it in 2 parts because I thought the show sucked. I thought
Josh literally messaged me midway through the show like, this show sucked.
I didn't. I'm definitely not going to spend a lot of time talking about this shit. If the best show on the entire card was a 4-way women's tag match, there's something seriously wrong with the show. Cody and Gunther, that was good. But when you start off a show, to me, as corny as the show started, that to me just sets the tempo in such a bad direction. I don't really care if anybody really liked what happened in the opening. I thought the whole open was trash. I thought it was all trash. I thought the match absolutely sucked. I thought the fucking match was at a snail's pace from the fucking start of it and never literally left gear half. Like, literally, Roman Reigns as it's my OTC, and I love just know I love you, my tribal chief, my OTC. But he did 3 moves the entire match. The entire fucking match. And it literally was in like 30 seconds. This match was a barn burner of the worst possible sorts to me. Like, if y'all rated this, I don't know if y'all did ratings on it, but I
gave the opener like 3.25. I was very disappointed based on the standard of the usual Bloodline tag team matches, especially from last year.
I get it because you probably gave the Roman entrance a star. You probably gave the Jey Uso entrance a 1.5 stars, and then the match itself got 3/4 of a star. So I get the math. I get the math was mathing. The math is mathing. No, 2.5 stars for the entrance, and then a 3/4 of a star for the match. The match sucked. Like, there's nothing positive.
No.
In what way was it good?
I would say it was fine. The one match that I said was trash was Nia Jackson, Liv Morgan. That might have been the worst WWE PLE match.
I legit fell asleep. I legit fell asleep on that match.
It's a good time you fell asleep at that match. It's a good time you fell asleep.
I had to watch it twice, bro. I had to legit, and I felt bad because I knew Cody and Gunther was like right after it. But I was like, this match, like the fact that the PLE didn't start on a good note. So nothing really like kept me awake. So like the Bloodline shit was like, seeing Sami it was like good feels to see the OG Bloodline like in the ring again and tease what's to come. Like, tease what's to come. Like, so like to the stuff to come is gonna be way better than the shit that we saw. So I was like, okay, I get it. But whew, that was tough to watch.
I like the post match of the Bloodline stuff because I was like, they had to do something. It was too fast to have them just reunite here, so they had to do something to kind of, slow burn it till when we get to Survivor Series. So I like the post match more than I like the match. I thought the match was fine. If it was anyone else, I probably would be higher on the matchup. But it's the Bloodline, and they set a high standard from them.
Well, yes, they're the best thing in the company. So yeah, so when you deliver shit, you're gonna get shit. So yeah, we've been on the Bloodline coattails for the better part of 3 years now. And everything they've been doing, we've been praising, and rightfully so. This time, they delivered shit. So this was bad. Like, this was just bad. The match sucked. Jimmy botched where Roman should have lost the first time. It was just such a mess. Like, it looked like they haven't worked together in like 1.5 years. Like, it just looked like they haven't had that. The chemistry was all off. It just to me, it didn't make sense. Like, it didn't make sense. And then the sudden loss of Roman, just lose. He's the freshest fucking guy in the match. The motherfucker takes a total of 3 spikes and it's over. Like, it was literally a WWF No Mercy match when somebody starts off the match with specials and then you hit it with bong, 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 3 specials, fall done.
Yeah.
Like, it, no, nope, I can't change my mind on that shit was bad. That shit was bad.
I thought there was some good matches on the show. I would give it the pass because, like I said, I thought the whole package of the Bloodline, it turned out to be solid with the post match. Overall, the match was definitely disappointing. I agree with you. I thought the Cody and Gunther
OTC, man, and I know I love the OTC too, man.
I do. I can't step away, man. I've been getting heat all week for the fact that I put Roman Reigns number 5 in my top 20 greatest WWE wrestlers of all time. I got Jeff Teague, former NBA player, giving me heat for that. Saying I like Roman Reigns, but that's way too high. You shouldn't be you not watching like me, Jeff Teague.
You lucky for the people that you ain't put him higher. He could be like number 3 right now. You know what I'm saying? He could be a little higher on that list. People don't understand that he's been holding this shit down for a decade straight.
Facts. Straight facts.
But when he does bad shit, you got to give him shit. Like, it's just got to be fair. Got to be fair. Like, listen, man. People basically, if you hear anybody else, if you see social media, you see everybody all of a sudden hanging on fucking Roman's tea bags. Listen, you got to give him shit when he does bad shit, and this was bad shit. Sorry.
I can understand. I was disappointed in the matchup for sure. Like I told, like we were talking about yesterday, Josh, I said that match never left first or second gear. It was just like this. It was just like this. It never escalated past that. I thought the main event was great. I thought that genuinely that was like a great match. The triple threat for the U.S. title felt like a breath of fresh air because of what we had to sit through. But outside of that, Orton and KO was a fun brawl. For what it was, the match never really started, so I couldn't give it a star rating, but I was entertained by that. Seth and Bronson Reed was a good matchup, and the ladies 4-way matchup that was so much fun. But the fact that the Bloodline matchup disappointed and the women's matchup was so bad, like that's why the show overall has a feeling that it felt mid. It felt very mid, and that's why I got a thumbs in the middle from me.
Yeah, WWE has a reputation of great opens to a show. Like they open the show strong. So this to me felt like a bad start. And usually with WWE, if you don't have a good start, like the rest of the pay-per-view is relatively tough to enjoy. And I think the stage that the women had, like, I'm glad that they were able to revitalize it a little bit, but it just wasn't enough for me. Like, it just was like, I'm just kind of like the Seth and Bronson Reed match was a good TV match. Like, it was a good TV match to me. Like, it was solid. Like you did say, like the triple threat was probably like technically the best match, but I enjoyed the Fatal 4-Way women's match more. And then Cody and Gunther was going to definitely deliver at least that didn't like just absolutely just take the car down the fucking sinking ship because I'm sorry, man. You can't start a pay-per-view like that, man. You can't start a pay-per-view that bad, man. And then think it's going to be like a positive feeling after that. Because it was like, come on, bro. Like, y'all usually good with grand opening, grand closings. This was a shit opening. Like, it's hard to get over that. Like, I think I would have to watch the show literally again without watching that whole match.
Fair. We do have a super chat donation. Thank you so much. I Make Beats showing some love. He says, best part of Crown Jewel, Pierce eating that RKO. I will say, I said Randy Orton nearly won MVP for me by hitting Pierce with that RKO. Josh, you had a night to sleep on it. What's your kind of overall thoughts on Crown Jewel a day later?
The same way. I think it's the worst PLE this year for WWE.
Facts.
It was just, I don't know, man. The overall pacing was weird to me. The opening was a disappointment. Like we said yesterday, like I was waiting for like that second, third, fourth gear. We didn't even get that. Like everything felt super slow, and then when the match ended, it was abruptly, and we were just like, oh, that's it. So for me, like even the angle that they did after that, I mean, it was cool to see Sami, but it was like I was kind of like whatever about it. And I know a lot of people are excited about it, right? But for me, I think we're at a point with the Bloodline stuff that if everything is so predictable, I can't really get that excited for it. You know what I mean? Like I can understand why people get excited for it because of like, oh, you're getting the old Bloodline back together, right? If that's what you get excited for, hey, more power to you. But for me, it's like if everything is too predictable, then I'm like, I can't really get into it like that. Now, if they deliver for War Games, I think that's a plus for me. I'm like, that's all I really look forward to. Like, if they deliver in War Games, I don't give a shit about anything after that, right? But, again, we're at a point with the Bloodline that is like, yesterday, the person you had on yesterday, he made a good point about Bloodline fatigue. Like, it's a real thing, and that's what we're going through at the moment too, because I think it doesn't pick up until The Rock comes back, because we still don't know what's The Rock's like role. Like we don't know what's his direction that he's going with when he comes back, right? So I think when he comes back, that's where I think things are probably gonna pick up. But overall, I thought like that opening, that opening was a stinker. Like, oof, boy, like. Especially for the level that we expected at, and we know these guys could deliver. It wasn't good to their standards. The Fatal 4-Way was better than what we expected. I gave the ladies a lot of credit for that. Yeah, there was like a little miscues, but at the same time, it wasn't as bad as what we've seen this past year. Yeah. And again, I don't want to say that they over delivered, but I thought they all showed out. I thought they did something unique that they all like did that kind of stuck out. Even the NXT women, like I'm not, I don't watch much of Lash Legend. Like I've seen like the big spots that she's done. Like I know she slammed Otis. I seen that. So I know there's certain things that they've done with her that's worked out well, because I know when she started, it was really rough. But they're doing things that works for her, and I thought the nice showdown between her and Jade was pretty cool. And honestly, I think she looked better than Jade during that back and forth. I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, overall, phenomenal. Yeah, like I thought she looked good. And I thought like they did a good job on that. It's one of those things with WWE, like you kind of hope they kind of see that and they kind of built on to that. Sometimes with WWE we tend to see something like that and nothing really happens. So I hope like maybe something comes about. But I do agree the worst match easily living Nia. I don't know what the fuck was that. Especially again, the reason why I'm saying like it was so bad, not only because of the overbooking, but the fact that you built this bullshit title to be this whole like, oh, this is like the Super Bowl, this is like the World Series, right? This is like the NBA Finals, and then we got that bullshit. We got that overbooked bullshit that I was like, how the fuck you guys want to be taking like sports serious, and then you do bullshit like that? I was like, all I'm saying is that if I was watching the World Series and somebody fucking ran into the field and cost the team a win, like, you know what I mean? Like, is that entertaining? No, it's not. Like, especially if you're trying to build this shit to be a big deal. Even though, I mean, honestly, by default, I really didn't give a shit about the belt to begin with, because I just think it's a waste of time. They didn't do any favors when it comes to that. I felt like Cody and Gunther did, because that was a great matchup. Like that was a great main event, and I felt like that could have mattered, but because of the circumstances of this whole thing, like especially like, oh, that the belt is going to stay there in Saudi, I'm like, okay, like what they do?
Oh my god!
What they fucking do? Okay, awesome guys.
Ain't nobody going to ride to see that shit.
Like what the fuck? I was like, what is this? Like, And they got rings after that. Yeah, I will say the rings did look cool, but do I really care about it? Not really. Like overall, I really don't. I really don't care about
rings I got.
Yeah, and then the triple threat again. I thought the triple threat was great. It was a great matchup, but for me, like I still stand by what I said yesterday, where I was like the overall picture of it. It just kind of makes Andrade and Carmelo look like dumbasses because LA Knight won their feud. Like he's the one that won their feud. Like he interrupted the match 7, and then he went. He wins the matchup against both of them, and I was like,
"Yeah, you ain't
wrong I was like, that." Yeah, I was like, I think that's where, I think that's where I fall more on when it comes to that match. Like the matchup was fucking great, especially for a 9-minute match. I thought those guys did as much as they can in 9 minutes, but it was for me, it was more of like the overall like how we got there. I think it was kind of like, what the fuck, like another man won their feud.
Josh, these niggas had 8 matches with no reward.
Well, technically it's supposed to be 7. We got like 5 because that Liv Morgan bullshit. I really don't consider it as a match. And then Orton and KO we never got.
No, I'm talking about.
No, he's talking about Andrade and
Melo and Andrade had a 7-match series to culminate in a title match, and neither won the fucking match.
No, and then
still tied 3-3.
Yo, and then even so, right? Didn't they have like separate matches against LA Knight? Like didn't Carmelo and they had separate and they still lost?
The whole feud has been like 10 matches. Yeah.
And they lost all of them.
They're fucking LA Knight won their feud. That's what makes it funny to me. Like another man won their feud.
I will say the women's match being as bad as it was and sleeping on it, what I came to the realization is this might be the worst the women's title pictures has been in like 8 years. And I say that as someone, I think that Nia Jax is up there for most improved wrestler of the year. Like she's had a remarkable comeback to WWE. I think Liv Morgan has showcased so much great character work and the evolution of her as a heel. I said it before she turned heel that her ceiling was much higher as a top heel than it was as the plucky underdog babyface. And she's proved me right with all of that. But my Lord, these divisions seem fucking sad right now. Like Nia Jax, all her fucking reign has been is Tiffany Stratton teasing the cash in Money in the Bank. Yeah, it's more about Tiffany than it's about Nia. And Robert D. Felice, who we had on yesterday for the Crown Jewel review, because I said Nia and Liv felt like I was watching a fucking New Japan House of Torture matchup. A fucking evil as IWGP world champion with shenanigans and interference. But he made the even better comparison of saying it gives very much Jeff Jarrett in the 2000s TNA as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, where every fucking match for Liv Morgan for the past 6 months has went like this. Dominic Mysterio throws something into the ring, he distracts the referee, Liv wins by cheating. Just like in the 2000s, every Jeff Jarrett world title matchup ended with referee bump, guitar shot, Jeff Jarrett cheats to win. That's what it is. It's basically the 2024 version of Jeff Jarrett in TNA as the top champion, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick. And the fact that we had a matchup that had both tired beats playing through it, it just made it one of the worst experiences that I've watched a PLE for WWE this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then even the fact with like the whole thing with Tiffany, like remember I was bringing it up, I was like, yo, a couple of months ago in the Elimination Chamber, she was like the most over woman, right? And this is what people wanted. People wanted her to either become a champion or win Money in the Bank. She wins Money in the Bank, and I just felt like it hasn't really done any favors for her because she looks like a dumbass. Like
the only thing that's really done for her is she's getting more babyface responses, which she was, in Australia and stuff. But I would say it's more prominent now that people want her to cash in on Nia and become a babyface.
Yeah, and I think, and even with that, it's just like, even with that, I'm just like, oh, is that even a good move? That's where I'm at with it, because it's just you keep doing the same thing. And it's just like, it's not really going nowhere. And then even yesterday, the way they did it, right? She comes out, right? Nia kicks her out basically. And then she comes back. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, why they continuing this? I was like, oh my God. And then freaking Dom and then Raquel gets involved. I was just like, oh, I was like, what the fuck was this? Like, you know, and I get it. You know, a lot of Liv fans are like, they're not going to see that because like, oh wait, our favorites won, so it doesn't matter. And I'm like, no, it should matter because it was a fucking shit match. Like, it should matter, you know, like stuff like that. And it's, I don't know. It was, I mean, did I expect like a spectacle in the ring? No, but give me something that was better than what the fuck we got yesterday. And I know, like, for a while, we were kind of a little bit worried about that, like the matchup between Liv and Nia, because I was just like, oh,
in the Bad Blood review.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know if this is the match you guys should do.
Heel versus heel with two acts that are I'm already straining on. We were worried about this on the Bad Blood review, and then look what it got. Look what it got us. Look what it got.
A lot worse than we expected. Yeah. A lot worse than what we expected. That makes it even more sad, to be honest. Because I think if something was like bad, then it's like, oh, all right, like we kind of knew it was gonna. But then when it's something like is this level of bad, it's like, oh, what the fuck? You know, like that sign, that meme that says like, oh, my expectations were low, but holy shit, that's how I felt yesterday.
You know what it feels like to a degree, honestly? It feels like they kind of like have this story that they get to this climax moment of theirs, and then they just have no idea what to do after the climax. And this is where Liv Morgan has fallen wayside at, is that they have no idea what to do with her now that her revenge tour has culminated in a title victory. Once that has concluded, there's like no fucking clue of what to fucking do with her, because we spent most of the year talking about how much this woman has improved and how she's done the best work of her entire career in the first half of the year. And now that is culminating with just regular ass Liv Morgan shit from years past. And it's kind of taking away all of the growth that she's achieved over the year, and is kind of bringing it right back to that stale level of you're just not believable anymore. Like she got the prize. Now what are you gonna do? And it just feels it's just flat.
You know, it's funny.
It's just absolutely flat.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I remember like the similar thing happened right before she won Money in the Bank, where like there was some momentum with Liv, and then you know she gets the title from Ronda, and then that title one was horrible, to the point that they're like, all right, let's go back to Ronda, like, you know. And right now it's like, because it's been dragging at the moment, now it's like we're getting to that point where it's like, all right, Liv, when are we gonna get a great match from you? Because you've been champion for how long now? 6 months, I want to say, right?
Yeah,
about 6 months.
Yeah, she won it in May.
I've only seen one great match, and then everything else is either you're in the storyline with the Judgment Day, there's more focus on that, or your contenders that you're facing they're just throwaways. So it's like it's getting to that point that it's like, what the fuck? Like,
I put her on the clock yesterday. I was like, she's on the clock. She got to give us a great match. Like, especially because we're going to talk about the Rhea Ripley news of this week, especially with the fact Rhea's going to be gone. Like, you're on the clock. Like, and there ain't a lot of material for you on Monday Night Raw, so it's tough.
Yeah, you see, is that Rhea Ripley was her fucking crutch of greatness. And now that Rhea is going to be out of the picture again, she's going to have to do this on her own again. Like, when Rhea comes back, they could just pair her with anybody, because Rhea is that good. Like, Rhea is that good that you can basically fucking pair her up with whatever woman on any roster, and she is going to make that shit shine. Liv Morgan ain't making nothing shine. She's just making shit dull, and that shit needs some severe polish, and the WWE creative team ain't going to help her in that department, because what it's not going to do, unfortunately, is that the Liv Morgan stories that's not going to be that good anymore. It's not going to translate to in-ring matches that's going to pay off for anything. You're still going to get the same 2.5-star matches from her, and it's gonna be like a mid story to an even probably worse match because the story ain't gonna mean shit, and we're gonna be back to square one with her. Like the Dom shit is over. Like the Dom shit is basically Dom is basically her fucking manager, basically. Like it doesn't even look like super. It just looks too artificial now. Like it looked kind of organic in the beginning, but now it just literally looks like Dom is her manager. Like, and it just this is just not. It ain't working on the television screen for me. And seeing Raquel was cool, but adding her to this fold adds nothing to this story that she is creating. It's literally just more pieces, and it's falling flat. And you know, unfortunately, there is no horsewomen to help her with great matches to get her back up on a higher pedestal. You got to do it with the new talent. You got to do it with the new girls that's here. You got to, you ain't gonna be able to do this with a veteran carrying you. You're supposed to be the veteran.
Yep. We do have a super chat donation here from Belle. Thank you so much, Belle, for showing us some love. She says, hey, guys, spending time with my mother like I normally do on a Sunday, so I'll catch you later. Thank you so much, Belle, for showing us some love in the chat. And we also got Vala B with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Vala B. He says, never has the division missed Becky as it does right now. And it was never supposed to be this way. The division should be able to win. Like, and you're absolutely right. You made a good note of the 4 horsewomen. They were kind of, like I said, this is the dullest and the worst the women's title pictures has been, because there ain't no horsewoman to make the save right now, because they totally fucking botched Bayley winning the WWE Women's Championship. They treated her like she was an afterthought for all the months that she had that title. So she's kind of like, the only thing that you can do now is probably send her to Monday Night Raw to try to fill the void that Rhea Ripley left, and maybe you can have another chance to make her the top babyface on one of your brands. Mercedes is over in AEW. Charlotte is still on the shelf. Charlotte Flair could not come back at a greater time. I think that she would be they'd be like, thank God you're back.
They need Charlotte, bro.
And we said yesterday, they are blowing Becky's phone up. Becky is trying to feed her child at home. And they're probably like, we can send a Brinks truck. We can send a Brinks truck right now.
Yeah, can the woman be a mother for a minute? Like, fuck. Like, shit, yo.
And it was crazy because when Becky was on her way out, I did say, I was like, yo, Becky, I remember somebody in the chat got upset because I was like, they don't have, there's nobody who does what Becky does. And people were like trying to argue that they had Rhea, but I was like, but Rhea doesn't do what Becky does. Like, no offense to Rhea. Rhea's still learning. And the way that Becky was there, it took years for her to be at the level that she's at. And I think in wrestling, that's, like usually for wrestling, like when you start getting better at psychology in the ring, storytelling and all that stuff, all that doesn't come together for about like 8 to 10 years, honestly, like into your career. And I think when Becky hit her stride, it was when she came back from her pregnancy. And then we kind of saw like, oh shit, like now she's like a fucking ring general. They don't have that right now, regardless of what people want to say. They just don't have that for either show.
They do, because like Vala B is saying here, you got like 3 to 4 great singles women that are stuck in this tag team division. You got Bianca Belair, who could be a top star for you. You got Io Sky, who's probably the best female wrestler that you got on the roster. Kairi Sane, who you have not used as a singles competitor since she came back last year. And like you got them stuck in the fucking tag team division.
And for me, and for me, it's like when it comes to those, like when it comes to them, like those are good. Those are great points, especially Io and Kairi, just because they have that experience and they have it from Japan. But as long as they're being used the way that they're being used, I'm like,
And we gotta be at the point, guys. We gotta be at the point where we gotta see what the fuck Jade is made of. Like we gotta see what the fuck. Like this woman is a fucking superstar. Like we gotta see what this woman is made of. Like there is like you're missing pieces. You guys just said them all. Like you got Bianca, you got Io, and it should be Jade. It should be Jade. And it's like they're still handcuffing her. And it's like, are they still protecting her from her fucking inepts in the ring still? Like this has been a minute now. Like
no, I think that's what it is. That's what it is. I don't think the company doesn't have full faith on her. Yeah,
they got the pieces.
No, they do. No, they do. And I think I just don't think the company's that confident with her.
And it's almost like to a degree, it's like, all right, this is probably why they're showcasing so many of the women, is because none of them are standing out. So it's like they want to showcase so many of them for someone to pop out of your screen, for someone to do something dazzling and be like, that's our torch right there. And none of them
who's doing it. No one on the main roster is doing it quite like Roxanne Perez is doing it over in NXT. She's the one that
by herself.
She was by herself for a very long time until they finally brought Julia and Stephanie Becker in, and now you can let her drop this title because they need her on the main roster. Like now. She's 22 years old. You can have a decade of her on top.
Like real talk, we shouldn't be talking about the women's division in this kind of light. Like this is like the most talent they've ever had in their history. And the fact that they're still struggling to anchor someone besides Rhea, it's like they made Rhea so powerful as a character. It's like she's untouchable. So it's like they haven't met anyone that is comparable to her on like an on-screen talent level that looks like they can have a one-on-one go with her besides Charlotte Flair, which is not here at the moment. And it's like it's almost like a damned situation, but a grateful situation for Rhea because she's such a powerful woman, but they haven't built her equal yet anywhere. So she doesn't have any.
They did, because that's the first person I mentioned. Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley should have main evented a WrestleMania by now.
And like we're at this point. So essentially, like, you know, partially obviously creative, but obviously Jade Cargill's fucking like inability to really just say, all right, now we're ready to make the turn, split y'all up, and y'all go y'all separate ways. This tag team has been going on for way too long. Like way too long. Like
the fact that it seems like it's building to a one-on-one matchup between them, I'm just like, okay, but you could be using Bianca Belair in better ways. You could,
but their interactions on TV isn't even like good enough for you when that turn happens to be like, oh yeah, I need this to happen. Like they've been so mid on TV. It's like, all right, cool. Let's get the match. Let's get the two
it's kind of
women on WrestleMania again, and let's see if that draws some sparks. That's obviously what they're waiting for. But she's on her own after this. She's got to be on her own after this because they're in desperate need of a powerhouse woman that is going to fucking be interchangeable and get Liv out of this, because Liv is a much better climber than she is somebody on top. And take it however you want to hear it, but she climbs the mountain a lot better as far as somebody that is going for something compared to somebody that is at the mountaintop.
Yeah, I mean, and then when it comes to Jade and Bianca, the reason why it's a tough spot for them too is because, like, honestly, the second run has been way better than the first run. And that's like when we, when me and Sid were talking about it yesterday, I was like, it is better, and they're doing something with them when it comes to that, because I know their first run, that was the big issue, where it was kind of like it just felt like it was quick and nothing really happened. This time around, it feels like they're doing a little bit more, like they're doing something. And then, they even had, the Saudi match, I was a little bit more surprised that they even had the tag title match on the Saudi card. Like, I was a little bit more surprised with that. So, but there are good points that you are making, like, because me and Sid were talking about it yesterday, or we're like, yeah, it's building, like, we see it, like, yeah, this is building up to a singles match at Mania, but at the same time, it's like, by the time it even happens, is anybody really gonna care?
And on top of that, like with this women's tag division, there's so many good women talents. Like it's on screen. It just looks like Jade and Bianca literally doesn't care who their challengers are. Like there's no challengers to them that means anything because they're just simply gonna wash whoever the challengers are. Like they haven't given. It's like, and it's not. It's almost like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because Bianca and Jade should be kind of given a little bit more like attention to like not fear, but like anticipation of this being possibly a big deal. Every single match that these chicks have been in, they've looked at it like no problem, no problem, no problem. We gonna take care of them. We gonna take care of them, and it's like, yeah, y'all are, but damn,
there's no urgency.
make it mean something. Like, make it mean something.
There's
like,
no
fucking get taken out in a week. Like, get taken out in 2 weeks. Make a fucking rivalry of one of these tag teams that you've defended these titles multiple times against. Every fucking single championship defense that they've had, none of the fucking matches have been a rivalry. They've just been put up against teams, and they've just taken them down. Like, there's been nothing built up at all with the tag titles and them too, and they're too good to not get into any on-screen rivalry stories. You can never play a vignette with them because there is nothing to vignette. like you can't. Like, it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's been not one rivalry that they've encountered since basically being together.
The only one that you can slightly count is Unholy Union because they lost in a 3-way. And then they were able to build up the rematch.
Where's Alba and Fire?
Exactly. They're not on the TV anymore. But
we like, come on. What are we doing?
We definitely got to come around to this conversation again and see what WWE can do coming out of this latest PLE. But there was big news on Friday in the world of WWE as WWE announced the releases of 3 talents. Baron Corbin, Indi Hartwell, and Tegan Nox are all departing WWE. Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp reported on November 1st that the 3 are exiting the company. Nox and Hartwell were released and will be free agents in 90 days, while Corbin was given notice by WWE that his contract would not be renewed. Corbin confirmed his exit from the company in a post on Twitter, writing, "That's all she wrote, folks. It's been real, and I appreciate everyone who supported me." As of now, neither Nox nor Hartwell have commented on their exits at that point. Sapp noted that sources in WWE have said that the 3 are the only ones leaving in this round of cuts. A new report had additional details on all 3 WWE releases. Fightful Select reports that while it is not confirmed, it is speculated internally in WWE that Corbin's contract runs through the end of the year. Several indie talent have already expressed interest in him, and one top booker said that they hoped he would continue wrestling. Nox and Hartwell both have 90-day non-compete clauses that will allow them to wrestle elsewhere starting in February 2025. Nox has been off WWE TV for over 6 months and hadn't been booked for dark matches or live events at some time, though she was occasionally backstage at SmackDown tapings. Hartwell's release was surprising, and she worked a match on the SmackDown taping last week in Brooklyn that was airing on Friday. Several talent and staff in WWE felt she was coming into her own recently with her social media skits. While it's not confirmed, it is likely that Nox and Hartwell will need to have their visas sorted to continue wrestling in the United States. Hartwell posted to Twitter to say, "Wait, what?" in response to Sean Ross Sapp's tweet about her release, which the site reports is a rib. Hartwell did not find out about it through the tweet, and Fightful doesn't report on releases until talent know about it already. Hartwell went on to post a second tweet, which read, "Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened." Nox posted to Twitter to confirm her release, writing, "Some things just are out of your control, and you can only do as much as you can. Let's clear one thing up, though. I'm ready. I've been ready. I just have to show people what they missed." I would say that these were an interesting case of like 3 talents to release, because it's all like 3 very different stories with all 3 of them. With Tegan Nox, it was basically the injuries that I think WWE just lost faith in her. And even if Triple H, he hired her, it felt like he hired her back and then did nothing with her. He did absolutely nothing with her. He hired her back in 2022 and he barely used her. She was in a tag team with Natalya. She had that mini feud with Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship last fall. And then he never used her after that. Like, that was it. That was all he used her for. But you could say, like, in her first run before she was released the last time, that it was just the injuries that made WWE kind of lose faith in her. But this second run, there's no excuse because she was healthy. She had like one minor injury the entire time. They just never really figured out how to use her in that second run. With Indi Hartwell, she's someone that it feels like has untapped potential, because I feel like she's not the best wrestler, but she's a very great personality. She has a lot of charisma. The whole Index story on NXT like took up so much TV time and was so popular when she was in the way that it made them baby faces when they were supposed to be heels. And then when she came to the main roster, she basically just got lost in the shuffle. Her and Candice were probably one of the better tag teams in the women's tag team division, and they got a couple of shots at the titles, but they never gave them a run. And pretty much, if you're a women's tag team in the WWE women's tag team division, everyone gets a run, but they didn't give these ladies a run at those titles. And then with Corbin is just feels like, man, this is a guy that really, for all the bad stuff that we said about him, and Top Guy JJ, I'm looking at you. We said a lot of bad stuff about Corbin.
I'm here. Yeah.
This guy has always tried to make every shitty character and good character work. And the one good character he got was bum-ass Corbin, and they did it for 2 months. They did it for 2 fucking months. That was the best time of his entire career, and it only lasted 2 months. But he made going back to NXT work, and he helped Braun Breaker so much. And like Rick Eugenio over on Sportskeeda, he made a good comparison. Baron Corbin going to NXT and helping Braun Breaker become a more well-rounded performer is kind of like when like a baseball team that sends a veteran down to the AAAs and they help like one of the young talents, and the young talent goes to the major leagues, and then they release that older talent. It's basically like Rookie of the Year. When Gary Busey is helping out fucking the little kid in Rookie of the Year, and they're just gonna send him out to pasture, but the kid is the one that they're trying to groom here. That's basically what they did to Baron Corbin, because they never were able to use him again after a great run in NXT. He got called up, and they barely used him. They put him in a random ass tag team with Apollo Crews, and now he's gone. But this man made the Lone Wolf in NXT work. He got called up to the main roster, wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He gets the Money in the Bank way too soon. And then he was able to become United States champion. Then he turns and starts wearing the fucking Fridays manager deal and becomes Constable Corbin. And they fucking blamed all their shitty booking on him when all he's doing is following what you're saying, Vince. And you wanted to blame him on it to the fans to make you look like the babyface. And he made that work and got heat for it. He made King Corbin work, got heat for him, then put him in that awful feud with Roman Reigns over the dog food. He still made that work. Bum-ass Corbin was the best time of his career, and they cut it short 2 months in. Happy Corbin got plenty of heat, even though that was an awful gimmick. And then the burning of the ships and the Wolf Dogs in NXT was great. And he comes off of that, and they give him nothing, and now he's released. Or now they're going to let his contract expire, because he's different from Hartwell and Nox, who are getting released. They just told him they're not going to renew his contract. But Top Guy JJ, I'll start with you. What do you think about these 3 releases here?
I think you hit it right on the head with the Tegan Nox thing. Tegan Nox, I think, unfortunately, like she was hot coming in, and then the injuries just like killed like any chance she had at any type of run, because during the span of her injury, so many women broke through. Like there was like almost no room for her left. Like and that's just the way sometimes that like it was unfortunate with her. Like she just had like a string of bad luck. Indi Hartwell was a little surprising. Like, Indi Hartwell was a little surprising because it's one, obviously she was literally on Friday night SmackDown, which was on Tuesday or some shit. But
no, it was last Friday, the previous Friday.
The previous week. Got it. But she is somebody, again, I think her and Corbin to me are not similar, but they did literally anything the company asked of them. And those are two people, again, like when, like this is in that Dijak conversation for me, is you had those two loyal people, those two loyal employees that did pretty much anything that you asked them to do, worked any angle that you fucking presented to them, whether how stupid it was or if it was any good or any level of promising. But Indi Hartwell, it's like, unfortunately, I don't know if they just didn't see her as a talent. They didn't see her as somebody that could fit like the way that the women's division is going, the direction, getting her in the ring more and all of that stuff. She's gonna be fine. I know she's gonna be fine. She's gonna be totally fine. As much shit as I've ever given this guy is Baron Corbin, I think that guy should have had a job in the WWE for life. Like he's somebody that should have been employed in some way, shape, or fashion, whether it was backstage, whether it was somewhere on screen or off screen. What he did for Braun Breaker should have gave him a job for life. Like you fucking basically nourished and helped catapult somebody that y'all fucking predominantly throw in everybody's faces every single fucking week on Monday Night Raw. And he is a fucking badass on TV. And this is not taking anything away from Braun Breaker, but Baron Corbin had something to do with that. And the fact that you just kind of like, it's almost like you found your gem and you throw away the trash. And that's just not right. Like, that's not right. Like, every fucking thing that he's done, every fucking character that they portrayed him on, like, he literally went on TV and was made fun of every single fucking week for months. And he took it and he ate it like a fucking champ. He didn't go back and forth with fucking social media idiots like a fucking loser every week. Like, that motherfucker was a professional's professional. And that's somebody like, and it's like, I guess this day and age is just fucking changing too much that you just don't get rewarded for doing everything that somebody asks you to do. Like, and it's just, it sucks to see this. It just continuously sucks to see. Yes, was Baron Corbin ever going to be a champion again? Probably not. But he is somebody that you could find a role for in your very fucking rich company that lets us know that they've had a record amount of sellouts, that everything is the fucking highest gate of all time. They've made the most money they've ever made, but y'all can't find a job to fucking help keep this man, like, just keep not him afloat, because I'm pretty sure he's done well for himself, but fucking reward him for everything that he's fucking given y'all. It's just I won't even say sad to see. This shit kind of angers me, because when you see shit like this happen, this literally lets you know loyalty has no value.
Yeah.
It's about fucking, what are you doing for my fucking numbers? What are you doing for my overall fucking viewership? What are you doing for my overall product on screen? Because apparently whatever he's doing off screen, shit didn't fucking matter. And that shit sucks, because that's supposed to mean something. And yeah, first time I'm like literally like defending Baron Corbin to the fucking core here, but this was wrong. This was wrong. Like, and is he gonna be okay? Yeah, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna go to another company and he's gonna be a competitor somewhere else. But that's basically what he's gonna be, as a competitor. Like, in the WWE, he was a fucking leader. Like that, you don't fucking lose leaders like that. Like, Baron Corbin went to fucking NXT to help people. You don't send someone to help people and then bring him back to the fucking show and then fucking dump on him and then release him literally within a year. This is not like something, oh, he did this for him in 2021 and he's done nothing for 3. This shit was this year. Like, it was this year. It was 2024. Like it is not like so long ago. This shit just took place with him and fucking Braun Breaker. And then you release him at the end of the year. You're going to let his contract expire? Why? Because you have nothing for him on screen? I think that's a pile of shit. I just think that's a big pile of shit, honestly.
Yeah, you could have figured out something for Corbin. Like Corbin, like I said, he made everything they gave him work. Josh, what was your reaction to these 3 releases, and who would you say is the most surprising of the 3?
The most surprising, technically, I would say is Indi Hartwell, just because she was being used on TV. You know, like they were doing segments, and then she was being used. Like even if she was going out there with Candice, you know, she was on television. So I think that's why I'm a little surprised with that one. I think that one's more surprising just because with Baron Corbin, I think on a bigger scale, I think Baron Corbin, you could say, is more surprising because of what he's done for the company. But at the same time, he wasn't being used on TV. And usually when you're not being used on TV, that's usually writing on the wall, right? Regardless of how loyal you've been to the company. We've seen already, and people could say what they want, but we've seen with Triple H, he has favorites. He clearly has favorites. And, you know, when you think, oh, yeah, this is a Triple H guy, then it's the other way around, right? Because we thought Dijak was a Triple H guy, and then they didn't even offer him a new contract, right? So we're just at, you know, we're just at a point where when it comes to WWE, they're just, at the end of the day, they're a business. You could try to convince me, hey, this person loves this person, but if they don't see you as like their cash cow, then your job is never safe. That's how I see it when it comes to that. So, I mean, on the bigger scale, I would say, you know, Corbin, just because of, again, everything that he's done and how much time he's put into the company. But I mean, the least surprising was Tegan Nox. No offense to her, she wasn't being used at all, and you know. When usually at that point where you're not being used, then you're on the chopping block. I mean, there are other people in that position too that haven't been used, but they probably see with her like, oh, we're definitely not going to use her, so we're just going to let you go again. I think that's why it sucks for her too, because I'm like, this is the second time she's being let go by the WWE. I mean, it's unfortunate, you know. But I think they're all going to be fine, honestly. You know, like I know a lot of us, we kind of, when some of these releases happen or these renewals happen, we get upset over it. But at the same time, I think these talents are going to be okay. I think Indi will be okay. People, I think, seen her work enough to see that, all right, I think she's going to get enough bookings. The only thing I worry about for the 2 ladies is their visas. I think that's where I worry about a little bit more, because that's a difficult process. Because that actually happened with Bronson Reed as well. The first time Bronson Reed got released, he had to like really scramble, and I think he got some help from I forgot who he said. I know he said somebody helped him, and he was able to get like his visa. So I think that's the only thing I would say that for those 2 ladies. I think that's the main thing. Like if you guys want to continue to work in the United States, I think get that settled first, because the sooner you get that settled first, guess what? The sooner your bookings you're gonna get booked for like the next 6 months or the next year or whatever the case may be. Once you get that settled, then you can take bookings. Right now, they're not even in a position to take bookings, not only because of the release, but because technically they can't work in the US. So if they
got 90 days to figure it out. Hopefully they're proactive on it.
Yeah, and that's why, like, you know, like for that, you know, like for that, I think that's the most important thing, because I'm like, you need that first, because you could get all the bookings you want, but if you can't work here, then it doesn't mean anything. Like, you know, but I think they're gonna end up working out. I think Corbin is just gonna be fine because even if he ends up like at a TNA, I think that would be a good spot for him. Like if he wants somebody, like they want somebody.
I don't think Corbin's going to continue wrestling. I think he might do something like
I think that's true.
Yeah, that's what I'm. I think that it's more.
And then that too.
He's gonna be okay. Yeah, like he's gonna be fine.
He doesn't need to wrestle, because even with him, I think his bookings and his convention appearances, he's gonna do great when it comes to that. Like even though conventions appearances alone, the private signings, he could just do that, and I think he'll be set for that, honestly. Like he doesn't have to wrestle, but I think it will still be cool to see, like, if he decides to continue that, by all means. But if he decides to do something else, even within sports, because he used to be in the NFL, so if he does something with that, he's gonna be fine. I don't think it's like it's not really a sad thing when it's sad like his WWE run is over, but at the same time, I just think it's just a beginning for him, for somebody like him, because he has a lot to offer, not only in wrestling but in other aspects. And we all kind of seen like his work ethic. Like he puts his mind into something, he works for it. Because remember, he was an NFL player. He did it for a few years. When that was done, he moved on to wrestling, and that's all he's known since. And then, from there, I think he's going to be fine. And I think whatever he does, I think he's going to be great at, in my opinion. So I think everybody's going to be fine at the end of the day. It sucks, but I think everybody's going to be fine.
So Josh, I think my main point was with the whole Corbin thing is that it's showing you less and less that what you do for a place. What you do for a place means less. And that is why I was so happy about something like what the Motor City Machine Guns are doing, is getting that fucking bag, taking all them perks for a couple years, and getting the fuck up out of there. That's because that's basically all it is now. Like, don't go there and be no fucking locker room leaders. Don't go and fuck all that shit. Like, go there, fucking put on a show for the fans, collect your money, put on something for the crowd, get the fuck up out of there.
I agree with that 100%. I agree with that 100%.
Whatever you do as a leader means fucking nothing no more, apparently.
And I see it. And I think, to me, that's why it's more of like when people want to talk about releases or people want to be upset, right? Remember when all those releases was going on, people were upset at Vince McMahon. I'm like, hey guys, you want to be upset? Give that same energy back to Paul Levesque. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
And then again, who's gonna want to lead that place if you're not super productive in the fucking ring? And that's the realm that Triple H is going to start to get into, is that if you're not a fucking megastar or somebody that is fucking drawing him money on the fucking screen, no matter what the fuck you do back there, because apparently the New Day's contract is over in a fucking month. So we're going to see what the fuck happens with that. So, Lord knows, like, if they don't fucking throw the fucking Brinks truck at them motherfuckers to stay around, that will just show you that the loyalty of that company is going to draw so much deterrent from people from other places to go there, unless it's for a Brinks truck for a short period of time and then getting the fuck up out of there, because the New Day deserves lifetime contracts there. Like, they deserve lifetime contracts there. And if they aren't taken care of, nobody's safe.
We do got another super chat donation here from Chuck Berry. Thank you so much, Chuck Berry. Is always one of our big supporters here in the chat. He says, hate to say that I saw this coming, but WWE did Corbin zero favors with the bad booking. Overall, he did well with the scraps that he was given. Yeah, like I said, and he turned into a good in-ring performer as well. He was very underrated for a guy his size. Like, he had innovative moves like the end of days and and the way he hit like the deep six and stuff like that. He was good for a guy of his size and his stature, and coming from the background that he came in, he developed into a good performer in the ring. And then as a character, I think he was very underrated because he made.
Yeah, I think like the lone wolf. I loved his like lone wolf stuff from NXT. Like when NXT was at its hottest, like he was part of that. I think a lot of people forget that too. Like he was a part of that, and then he was getting some big wins. You know, with that they just never really pushed him as like the the NXT champion or anything like that. But like he was so prominent that he was getting takeover matches. So there were things that he was doing good, and then when he got to the main roster, there was a period too when people were giving him praise. They were like, "Oh shit, like he's actually pretty good in the ring." And I know, like, was it when he faced AJ Styles? I know people gave him praise for that when he faced AJ Styles, and then they put the briefcase on him. And then when it comes to that, I think the briefcase itself, I know he fell into some hot water. He said something that he probably shouldn't have done. He did something that I guess like that
but
was.
He wasn't wrong. He wasn't.
No, he wasn't wrong.
But
you
just throw him to John Cena and fucking just
that
could cost you your career.
Nothing like he wasn't wrong for that, but I'm like I think that's the only thing I'm just like I guess like even though I think to me it was bullshit, but I was like I knew like it wasn't gonna do him any favors, and I know he had like a run-in with like somebody who was like a veteran or something, and he made like a comment about it, and then it made him look really bad because it turned out that the person was actually like a legit veteran. It's not like those little things. I don't think that really defines, because he did apologize for it. He was going in the assumption that the person was being fake about it. It happens sometimes on social media. You don't know what's real, what's not real. I don't think those things doesn't really define him, in my opinion. I'm like, it happened to happen. He owned up to it. Props to him, because a lot of people don't do that. But I think that's the only things I could really think of. Like, when they had him lose the briefcase, and I know like there was a fucking downward spiral. They said, oh, he was in the doghouse, he was being buried because of that. But then they gave him like this fucking Applebee's gimmick too that I wasn't in favor with. Like,
comfortable.
I don't know.
Because people don't get, like, when you do one damage and thing like that to somebody that is on the upcoming, and you do that literally that failed cash in damaged the rest of his career. Like that shit.
But the whole thing, he shouldn't have won the briefcase to begin with. He was in a Money in the Bank ladder match. Some people forget. He was in a Money in the Bank ladder match with AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens.
Facts.
He should have not been the guy who
should not have won. He should not have won the match. But then now you make him win the match. You don't fucking ruin somebody's career for that's literally, if you're gonna do that, ruin his career and then fucking get rid of him right after it. Like let him rebound until
you had him lose to Jinder Mahal in like 5 seconds. Remember, right? Yeah, that's when he got pinned. He lost to Jinder Mahal in 5 seconds. He got pinned. Then
then he had Cena squashed him on the mic and then squashed him at SummerSlam, and he was pretty much dead in the water from that point. But he somehow kept swimming, so that's why I got to give him credit.
Found the surface somehow. He
somehow found the
surface.
Bum-ass Corbin too. That was my. You know what sucks about bum-ass Corbin was that it was the fact that he started doing like vignettes. They started doing stuff on social media that really put the character over, and then by the time it didn't even reach its peak. That was the problem. Yeah. It didn't reach its peak.
It was still on the rise, but they went to Las Vegas for SummerSlam, and they were like, "Oh, he's got to hit it big, and we got to change him to Happy Corbin because he's made money now." No, you had a good thing with the bum ass.
Yeah.
Oh my damn. Yeah. That's one of the few cases for me,
motels.
Right? Yeah, because like for me, right? I think it's like one of those things too. That's like in pro wrestling, right? When we see gimmicks, when you see people get over, right? There's always a peak to a lot of things, right? When certain things get to its level where it's like, all right, it's not gonna be as good. That shit didn't even reach, like, it didn't even, like, to me, they didn't even scratch the surface, and then they just like, all right, we're gonna make you rich. Like, what the fuck, guys?
All right, we're moving on.
I'm just saying, if they found a role for fucking Jason Jordan, they could have found something for Baron Corbin. I'm just saying.
I agree.
And that's what kind of like that.
Just saying.
Yeah, no. and that's where I 100% agree with you on, because like if you weren't going to use him, you could have used him as a backstage guy. Again, they clearly have favorites, right? Favoritism is a real thing. Favoritism is a real thing. It's real everywhere. No matter where you go, it's a real thing. So WWE, when it comes to that, it's no different.
Don't think otherwise. Don't think otherwise in today's society. Don't think otherwise. Sometimes hard work does not pay off.
Final note on Corbin and Indi Hartwell. Baron Corbin seems to agree with a fan that WWE made a mistake in letting him go from the company. He responded to a fan on social media who wrote, "WWE fumbled the bag letting you go," and he replied, "I appreciate that and feel the same." Meanwhile, Indi Hartwell said her final goodbye to WWE in a post on Instagram. She wrote, "I got to live a childhood dream for the last 5 years, and I'm so grateful. I'm just a girl from Australia who never took a nar for an answer and made her dreams a reality. It all started with a match in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, and fittingly, it ends there too. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened." Former WWE Women's Champion Bayley also showed her support for Hartwell on Instagram, saying, "You know the deal, baby. Love hurts. Let's be best friends forever. Respect at Indi Hartwell." Yeah, I think Indi Hartwell, she'll be all right. She's young and she's still got like potential. Like a place like TNA, she would fit in like a glove with her.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And then she could go back to WWE. Like, you know, it's not like
I think she eventually will.
Like, so
I think Indi is so young, she'll be fine. She got so much time.
Yeah. But the final note before we get into the rest of the weekly shows from WWE, former WWE Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley was on the receiving end of a beatdown from Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez on NXT in the NXT Deadly parking lot Tuesday night. WWE.com has since released an update on Ripley, noting that she suffered a fractured right orbital socket and that she will be out of action for quote-unquote an undisclosed amount of time. The full announcement reads, developing story injury update on Rhea Ripley. Last night on NXT, Rhea Ripley was heinously attacked in the parking lot by Women's World Champion Liv Morgan and her enforcer Raquel Rodriguez. Following the brutal attack, it has been revealed that the Nightmare has suffered a fractured right orbital socket, which will put Ripley out of action for an undisclosed amount of time. Make sure to follow all WWE social media platforms as this story develops. According to the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, Ripley's injury forced a change to the card for WWE Crown Jewel as well in Saudi Arabia. According to the original report, it was supposed to be Rhea Ripley to face Raquel Rodriguez. It's believed that the four-way women's tag team title match was added to the card as a replacement, as it wasn't scheduled prior to Ripley's injury on October 21st, Monday Night Raw. PW Insider revealed that the injury occurred during the beatdown angle with Ripley attacking Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. When she headbutted Liv Morgan, apparently she hit the headbutt wrong, and that's how she fractured her orbital socket. And WWE did release the X-ray of Rhea Ripley's injury on their social media platforms. But this is even a bigger injury, someone getting out of action for an injury, even bigger than her first injury to me, because yeah, she was at the height of her game as Women's World Champion, and you were like kind of like at that point, like, oh, what are we supposed to do? We built everything around her. But you made the call to Becky Lynch, who was supposed to take time off after WrestleMania, and she filled in the void to win the Women's World title to set Liv Morgan up as the new champion. But now we're 6 months into the Liv Morgan angle, and the angle between Rhea Ripley and Liv was kind of losing steam. So yeah, you look at this injury as a blessing in disguise, because now you'll have a longer break. But Rhea Ripley will get a huge pop, and fans will be into her when she eventually makes her return, and you can have the blow off matchup with Liv then. but it is a big hole in your roster with Rhea Ripley gone. And who is the quick fix? It doesn't look like anyone is the quick fix because you got Bianca Belair in the women's tag team division, and she's one half of the women's tag team champion. So you can't really take her out of that tag team right now, especially if the long-term plan is her and Jade Cargill. So she has to stay there. Io Sky can come in, but can you position her as the top babyface? I think that she's talented enough to do that, but can WWE do that with their booking? I don't know. Bayley, you did so much damage to Bayley with her title run and the way that you treated her Royal Rumble win. I don't know if she's the easy fix. You can send a Brinks truck to Becky Lynch. Like, there's so many different options. Charlotte Flair's supposed to be coming back soon. She's another option, but I think they had plans for her over on SmackDown. So this makes them they kind of have to shuffle at a very important time for them, because right now they're basically trying to figure out who is going to be in the title pictures for WrestleMania. And this is a big time for Rhea Ripley to be out for quote unquote an undisclosed amount of time. Will she be back for WrestleMania? It's very it's a hard situation to be in. Josh, what was your reaction to the injury for Rhea Ripley, how they did the whole attack angle to kind of write her off? And who do you think is kind of be the replacement for Rhea Ripley as the top babyface on Raw?
Reaction, I mean, it sucks because I'm like, damn, I don't want to say she just got back, but she just dealt with a bad injury. She was out for a few months. She comes back, and then it happens again, right? When it comes to that, I mean, that's unfortunate because even when it happened the first time, this is something that we did question. I was like, I think after a few weeks, I was like, Rhea missing is very noticeable. So now, because of even when she was back, the division wasn't that strong, and now you take her out of the picture. It's a lot even tougher than that now because of what they're going through right now. As far as the replacement right now on Raw, there's really no real replacement. The only real option I would say is maybe there was to call up Roxanne, and maybe she'll be the person. But then even with that, it's like I don't know what they're doing with her in NXT because I know she's currently in the feud with the with Wade and LeBron, Wade and them, so it's I don't know, man. Like it's pretty difficult because right now the NXT, obviously, if you look at the NXT women, obviously, like if you used to go with Vakira or Julia, that would be the easy fix. That's an easy band-aid, but they're not coming up anytime soon. And that's the unfortunate part because I think any of them would work because that fucking match that I saw when she did that fucking moonsault, what the fuck was that? Like that was crazy. Like when I saw that, I was like, God damn, like she's fucking good. But honestly, I think that's the only real option I could think of because even right now on the women's roster, they're trying to do stuff with Zelina, and God bless Zelina. I like Zelina, but she's just not it. I'm just being real. Like she's just not like she's. I get it. She loves anime. I love anime too. She into that stuff, but she Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican too. But it's like, I'm sorry. I just can't get into it. I'm sorry. Like, that's just how I feel about it.
I feel you. JJ, what about you? What was your reaction to the Rhea Ripley injury, and who do you think they should call up to or call on to replace Ripley on Raw?
This is their own doing. This is their own doing because fortunately injuries do occur in a contact element, so prayers and hope that Rhea Ripley is fine, that she recovers well, because anything around the eye is really serious, like because that could get delayed, it could fucking alter her vision, it could do so much stuff to impact her and not so good of a way. So hopefully she recovers and she's back fine. To their own undoing, as I was trying to get to, is they did this. they only highlighted Rhea Ripley in the women's division as a singles competitor on Monday Night Raw. The Lyra Valkyria, whenever they fucking put her on TV, she lost every fucking match. They put, for whatever god fucking reason, they decided to do some shit called Pure Fusion Collective and fucking just completely eradicate Shayna Baszler and Tony Stark and just fucking throw them into oblivion. Then you have Damage Control, where you have Io Sky, which is a champion wrestler, is stuck in this group that they have done no signs of breaking up anytime soon. So she's stuck there. You got the party girls that fucking shoot streamers into the fucking crowd, the dance party girls. They're none of them are going to be taken seriously at all. Then you have, I believe Asuka's still injured, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's still out.
So,
she's not coming back anytime soon.
So that was your calling card gone. They have to be blowing Charlotte's phone up vigorously right now.
Triple H probably gets one of his assistants to call Charlotte every hour, and the other calls Becky every hour.
Like, they have to be blowing her phone up. Like, have to be. Or Becky's as well. Because there is no one that is going to, like, jump out of the screen right now and make it interesting. Based on what Monday Night Raw has done with the rest of the women's division. Like, the women's division on Monday Night Raw is in the mud. It's in the mud. And, you know, you have also somebody that was also pretty damn talented. She's a member of the Wyatt Six. So that ain't happening anytime soon either. So you got all of these potentials, but they're all in the mud. So they've got to be blowing Charlotte Flair's phone up like there is nobody's business. His assistant, then his assistant's assistant is blowing up Charlotte's phone right now because they need an injection and they need it badly. And this is to their own doing because they have the women. They just never fucking put them on, presented them in a way that is going to be believable to be garnished a championship contenders run. They've all been basically filler matches, piss break matches for people that's in the audiences. And this is where they are. This is literally where they are. Like you got Alba Fire in there that is pretty damn good, but tag wrestler. They're constantly going back and they have people. They just have presented absolutely none of them besides Rhea Ripley. She's the only woman on the roster that was presented as a force. And now the force is gone. So the hole there is going to be massive, and you are going to end up seeing, unfortunately, besides filler piss breaks, much less presentation of the women's product on Monday Night Raw until they fucking figure this shit out.
Agreed there. We'll talk more about the Rhea Ripley injury and her absence as the weeks go on, and we see what WWE does. I think that Charlotte Flair is probably like the quickest fix, but the best fix is Becky Lynch. Like, because they've already started Liv Morgan saying that she's retired Becky Lynch, so they're kind of setting it up. They're kind of setting it up.
You got a little juice there, so you got a little something there. Yeah.
So I hope that it's Becky Lynch. But moving on to SmackDown this week. This was kind of a dud show because it was taped last week, like we mentioned before.
Was it a dud show? Oh god.
The show featured.
This show was ass.
Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso meeting with Jey Uso to squash the beef, which was highlighted by an excellent promo by Jey, who said that this time they are all equals, and for Roman to treat him like his cousin, not the tribal chief. When asked if Roman was in, he said yeet, and all three men put their ones up in a good segment there. You also had Nia Jax and Liv Morgan had a final face-to-face with Tiffany Stratton with Liv Morgan with Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax Tiffany Stratton interrupting the tease that she will cash in her Money in the Bank on either champion before asking if Dirty Dominic Mysterio came with Liv's title. This led to Liv beating Tiffy in a singles match. Post-match, it was Nia who attacked Morgan, delivering the Annihilator to stand tall before Crown Jewel. Bayley and Naomi defeated Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell in Indi's final match in WWE. You had the Street Profits beat Pretty Deadly in a tag team matchup, as well as you had Io Sky picking up the win in a four-way matchup to preview the women's tag team title match for Crown Jewel. And finally, Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton defeated Imperium in a solid main event. Post-match, it was Kevin Owens who attacked Orton with a steel chair, while Gunther locked on a sleeper after Cody was distracted with KO to close the show. So, like I said, kind of a dud show. Most of us already knew what was going to happen. If you seen the spoilers and all the social media posts about it, so, and especially because they had someone who didn't work for the company working in a matchup. That's how dated the show was. I don't know if WWE can keep doing these double tapings because they're supposed to do more before the end of the year.
And then a lot of the tape shows so far have been ass. Like,
I mean,
I just
thank you, SP. You just covered the entire episode of SmackDown. There's nothing else to talk about on it.
Yeah, there was nothing else to this show, and it's already a dead show because Crown Jewel was the next day. So, but what we did get before Crown Jewel went on the air on Saturday, Goldberg announcing that he will have his official retirement, his long-desired retirement match in WWE next year. I'm choking. Top guy JJ during an appearance on the SEC's network.
Fucking knew it, yo. Fucking knew
Saturday, the NCAA Florida versus Georgia game. Goldberg said that he will have his retirement match next year. The Hall of Famer noted that WWE executives Paul Triple H Levesque, Nick Khan, and Chris Legelli all approved of his retirement match. Goldberg recently made an appearance at last month's WWE Bad Blood Premium Live event, getting into a confrontation with reigning world champion Gunther. He teased that Gunther would be a frontrunner or victim for his retirement match, adding, but 2025, Goldberg makes his retirement match. He noted that he has a couple of months to get ready, but that no date or time are scheduled for the matchup yet. Hey, he wanted it. He sucked up his pride. He started twerking for Triple H, and he got it.
Soon as that motherfucker showed up at No Mercy, it's like, fucking know something's coming behind this shit. You knew something was coming behind this bullshit. And mind you, when he comes out, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be like, yeah, get the finals, get to say your final goodbyes. But it's like, oh my god, who the fuck is he gonna bury this time? Who the fuck is he going to bury this time? And it better not be nobody fucking prominent. Like, because I swear to God, if he fucking goes into a match and beats Gunther.
Oh, man.
Bruh.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Gunther, but I think Gunther wins. Maybe that's his retirement. I don't know. But
Goldberg losing in a wrestling match? Like, this is
if he has been losing.
It would have to be a wrestling match.
He has been losing. The last few matches, he has been losing. Like, he has been losing. So
Gunther, you have to actually do wrestling holds and moves, and you have to actually do a wrestling match with. Gunther is not going to be of the 2-minute variety, and you fucking do all specials in a sleeper. Like, be the fucking worst match in WWE history. Because that's Gunther's finisher now. It's a sleeper hold.
Or you give him like some.
He's gonna run. He's gonna run into a goal post, and then Gunther's gonna put him to sleep.
Yep, basically what they're gonna do. But yeah, what do you think, Josh?
I mean, if this is what Goldberg wants, I mean, it's good for him. Like regardless of how I feel about Goldberg and his wrestling, or some of the bad comments he's made the last year or so, obviously it's something that he wanted. So at least once they give it to him, he can't complain. There's nothing he could really fall back on. So I mean, regardless, at least he's gonna go out on his terms. I know, again, something that he wanted. As far as he faces, I mean, the obvious choice is Gunther just because of that interaction. I thought that was a great interaction that they had for that. And then basically when Gunther said he lied, when he was like, "Oh, I said you were my," he said, "I said you were my favorite." I lied about it. So there's an interaction there. But I just, me personally, I thought Goldberg should have retired when he faced Dolph Ziggler. I thought Dolph Ziggler made him look really good. It made him look like a badass. Or like, oh shit, this is the badass Goldberg I remember as a kid. Because Dolph made him look good, and then he just absolutely slaughtered Dolph Ziggler. So I thought like that would have been like the perfect way to like, all right, you go right onto the sunset, but no. Then we end up getting the Undertaker match, and then we end up getting Roman Reigns, and then we end up getting the Fiend, right? Because he fucking beat the Fiend. I'm like, and that was a whole fucking debacle.
I will still never let that down as long as I'm breathing air on this fucking.
And then we had Braun Strowman at that no fan WrestleMania.
Damn near killed.
So there was a lot of stuff that happened with Goldberg. I was like, all right, we don't need to see Goldberg. Right, that's where I was at. I was like, I tapped out. I was like, all right, fuck this. I don't need to see this. But again, he,
killed the Undertaker.
Yo, yeah. But I mean, again, if he's going on his own terms, by all means, Goldberg has always been fantastic when it comes to fan interaction. He absolutely is great when it comes to meeting fans. So I will never take that away from him when it comes to that.
He's a one-of-one. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
he's a great person.
He there's things that he's done. He is appreciative when it comes to the wrestling business because it gave him his life, Yeah. But, again, if he's going on his own terms, it's fine. Whatever, if he has a good performance, that's all I ask for.
I will say something with that. I'll say something nice, along with Josh here. Goldberg is a one-of-one original, like often imitated, never duplicated. He is the originator of one of the most used moves in professional wrestling to date, and no one still to this date, almost 30 fucking years later, does it better than him. So the originator and is still the best at it. Yeah. So you are one of one, and yes, you are a fucking wrestling legend for sure. But god damn, bro, your blow off match should have been against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 33. That would have been the best send off.
That was the best. Yeah, he did the whole send off for him the next night.
Right, like that was like chef's kiss. Because that was Goldberg's best WWE match. It had the fucking best reaction, and he was loved by everyone after it. And all the other shit happened afterwards.
And it's been downhill ever since. We do have a super chat donation from Vala B. Thank you so much, Vala B, for another one. We appreciate the support. He says, I'm so done with Bill Goldberg. Did you see Nemeth's tweet about it? Yes, I did. Nick Nemeth, the former Dolph Ziggler, commented after Dave Meltzer said that Goldberg just announced a retirement match. He says, on the bell, he spears and jackknifes Gunther. G kicks out at 1 3-minute match and good fucking riddance. Or it can be the Steiner Kid. Relax.
Steiner Kid.
Steiner Kid.
That would be fitting. That would be kind of fitting, actually.
Yeah. We shall see. We got Mr. Bonda who says Gageberg is going to the Performance Center and following his father's footsteps. Hopefully, he'll be more technically sound, though.
But you know what? You see, I don't necessarily agree with that because Goldberg's run was fucking legendary. Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, Goldberg's run was fucking magical.
He didn't need to learn wrestling moves.
Yeah.
He was perfect the way he was.
His shit was lightning in a fucking bottle. and it was fucking special to see. He had an aura that didn't need technical abilities. Goldberg's aura is in the Hall of Fame. The aura of Bill Goldberg is nothing matches that. So to talk about him, I will mainly be positive about him. It's just like, God damn, bro, you gotta know when to put it down. You gotta just let us keep talking about you in the positive light, because it's gonna end up becoming worse than when fucking SP3 had to see Undertaker for 5 more years after his so-called retirement.
I tell everybody, I was like, everybody's getting on my bandwagon that I created back in like 2017 of I'm done with the Undertaker now that he wants to interview bad presidents. Like, everybody wants to hate on Undertaker now. I was like, I've been hating on him when he didn't know how to retire.
Especially with his tone deaf response of like, hey, you made politics fun again. What?
Fucking idiot. He's just
let's not go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, he's a fucking idiot.
But I was like, what? I was like, get the fuck. I'm like, fuck
we'll
that.
Spend another 10-20 minutes burying the Undertaker right now,
bro.
We got. I mean,
that's justified. Just as people justified.
Or the Mark Calloway at that,
Yeah, Mark Calloway. Fuck the Undertaker. A new report has details around The Rock's potential appearances for WWE in the coming months, and when his Bad Blood appearance was confirmed. The Final Boss responded to a post on Instagram saying, "Don't believe that bullshit in terms of the rumors that he wouldn't appear at WrestleMania 41. Fightful Select reports that according to people in WWE, Rock considers the company a priority and that he is expected to be part of the show in sporadic fashion. No one was aware of where the rumor Rock wouldn't be working WrestleMania came from, and sources said that they hadn't heard either way if he will be appearing. One source noted that it's hard to predict what The Rock will do 6 months out, and a producer said that if he decides shortly before a show that he wants to make an appearance, he will. As of right now, several other people said they haven't been told Rock wouldn't appear at WrestleMania. According to people at the Intuit Dome, the site of the first Raw on Netflix, they were hopeful Rock will appear there, and there will be some internal buzz about such, though it hasn't been confirmed yet. The report reads that Rock's appearance at Bad Blood didn't have a lot of planning, and the possibility of an appearance became real in the weeks leading up to the show, which is what led to the Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes versus Bloodline tag match main eventing. WWE received a solid confirmation that he would appear a few days before the show, and according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer is still on his shit. He says The Rock has not committed to doing the main event of WrestleMania 41. One source claims nothing is set, while another claims Rock isn't scheduled as of right now. Dave is just like, I'm not letting this go. I'm right, and they have to change their plan to have The Rock be at WrestleMania. Dave, just give it up. You were wrong. You got fed bad information. It's okay.
Like, just let it go, bro. If you don't got to know everything, just let it go, bro. Just sometimes just enjoy the ride. Sometimes just enjoy the ride. Sometimes they want to keep shit from you, and that's okay. Like, you don't
or they probably just flat out just lied. I think that's what they did. They fed them information.
Good.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, that's fine.
Stop potentially ruining shit for everybody.
Yeah, stop dragging it out. Stop dragging it out by saying, "Oh, I'm not wrong. Dave, just shut up. But I love you.
He's becoming older and bitter now, so
I love you, Dave, but just let this one go.
Yeah. That's your colleague, so yeah, whatever.
That's my uncle.
Fuck him. I can say fuck him all I want, but yeah.
Uncle Dave. Vince McMahon is in the process of launching a new company, guys, after stepping down from his positions at TKO due to the Janelle Grant lawsuit.
You got to read this. I'm sorry. Whatever.
PW Insider reports that this new venture is being described as quote unquote an entertainment hub company that aims to finance, develop, and produce both film and television products. The company is expected to be located in the Los Angeles area. Several former WWE stars are collaborating with McMahon to get this company off the ground, with plans to reveal it once its legal matters are settled. Kevin Dunn is not part of this company. Kristen Prutti and Brad Bloom, who previously served as WWE's chief operating officers, are involved in the project. He joined WWE in 2006, but left after McMahon's first retirement before returning and leaving again earlier this year. Proti previously acted as WWE's connection to Hollywood, and she joined WWE in 2005 after being the original casting director for the first Diva Search, but was let go earlier this year. Unlike WWE, this company will not focus on wrestling, but will instead concentrate on various fiction and non-fiction productions. Fightful Select has more details on McMahon's new venture and reactions to the news within WWE. According to Fightful's report, sources with knowledge of the situation noted that the business is not supposed to be anything close to resembling a wrestling promotion. However, it stated that it's not out of the realm of possibility. Of course it's not. That the company could finance something that is wrestling related. It is not expected, though. There were theories as early as 2 months ago by those who were close to McMahon that he was lining up a new business venture. This popped up because some of the individuals who left WWE had secured positions, and they reportedly would not have left unless they had something new lined up with McMahon. WWE talents reportedly informed Fightful that they did not know about McMahon's plans to start a new entertainment company, and they said that they hadn't been contacted about it. Within the entertainment industry, there is said to be skepticism about McMahon's new business venture coming to fruition. An actor speaking to Fightful noted, "I find it hard to believe that anyone would attach themselves to this company considering his background, but there are plenty of people who just don't care and are desperate to get their project off the ground. I can't imagine anything actually getting done until his lawsuit is settled, though." Additionally, the report notes that there are individuals within the entertainment industry who interviewed by McMahon's new entertainment group for potential upcoming projects, though. There still aren't many details on that as of yet. Previously, Vince McMahon resigned from his post as executive chairman of the board of WWE's parent company, TKO Group Holdings, in January, following allegations in a civil lawsuit by former WWE employee Janelle Grant. That lawsuit is ongoing, and the lawsuit alleges that McMahon of sex trafficking and sexual assault committed against her. This man won't let it go. He will not let it go. Josh, what is your reaction to this man's new entertainment company?
Man,
I think that's the perfect way to finish that off. Any comments, Top Guy JJ?
I swear on my life, I feel that shit sounds like he's fucking producing a porno company. Tell me I'm lying after you read that and then you hear it. That shit sounds like a porn company. And everybody knows he's a fucking sex addict.
He said his
people
brain's like a computer, and he was thinking about sex.
And people are desperate regardless to get their projects off the ground. Entertainment industry, fictional and non-fictional.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what people want to. Yeah, you had to report it. So
yeah, we anything Vince related, we're gonna talk about it here on the flagship. But I agree with Bubba. Go away from here, you pest. He just won't quit. He just can keep. He's like a cockroach. You can't kill him until he's dead. But WWE Raw this week, they did 1.401 million viewers. The show featured Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso getting on the same page, talking it out, with Jey saying that he won the Intercontinental Championship on his own, but all the titles in the world didn't mean anything like being his twin brother. Jey said that this time with the Bloodline, they won't be side pieces, they will be equals. So Jimmy invited him to SmackDown to squash the beef with Roman Reigns. The Bloodline then jumped the Usos, who fought back and actually stood tall at the end of this segment. I was like, God damn, new Bloodline better win that crown jewel. And they did. This led to Sami Zayn confronting Jey Uso backstage about getting back into the Bloodline business again and how he doesn't understand, which Jey said he wouldn't understand because he's not family. Finally, Jimmy Uso went to talk to Sami, only to find him talking to Solo Sikoa in the parking lot as Jimmy and Jey realized that they needed the family to settle this and not Sami. War Raiders got the win over New Day and LWO in a good three-way dance with Chad Gable interfering to attack Rey Mysterio. War Raiders becoming the new #1 contenders for the World Tag Team titles. Sheamus picked up a win over Ludwig Kaiser in a solid matchup. You had Dominic Mysterio beat Damian Priest in the main event after a distraction from the Judgment Day. Post-match, Priest beat down Dirty Dom and Carlito to stand tall. And Bronson Reed got into a parking lot brawl with Seth Rollins that ended with Reed delivering a DVD out of a trailer into two tables. They present Bronson Reed very well on TV, but I'm just convinced he's never going to win a big matchup after Crown Jewel. Like, that was the time to have him get a big win, and they just didn't after injuring Seth on Raw. Made no sense. But here we are. But we've talked a lot about the women's division on this show, so we should note that Liv Morgan made some big news this week as she revealed that she signed a new contract with the company, a 5-year deal. The WWE Women's World Champion spoke with Logan Paul on the Impulsive podcast this week and revealed she signed a new 5-year contract with the company. She says, I just signed a new 5-year deal, so my 5-year plan is WWE. That's my 5-year plan. So hopefully, I'm happy for her. She's someone that they could have gave up on a million times, but she kept fighting, kept working hard. I just want her. You're on the clock. Just have a good match. Have a good match, please.
But perfect example of you draw good something for your television product and you are popular, they're going to reward you. Now, regardless of what else you do.
Sure. Drew McIntyre has been out of action since Bad Blood in his Hell in a Cell matchup with CM Punk. According to Fightful Select, he has been away for multiple reasons. First of all, McIntyre would have needed time off anyway, as he suffered a large cut during the matchup. This required a dozen staples to close. However, he has also been using the time to be with his family in Europe. He noted recently that he experienced personal losses, and of course, he had the big loss before Clash at the Castle. That's why his wife wasn't in attendance for that show in Scotland. And then finally, before we finish things off with everything from NXT this week, WWE made a big announcement this week announcing the launch of a new independent wrestling development program designed to provide independent-based wrestlers a pathway to joining WWE. The new program is called WWE ID, which is short for WWE Independent Development. The new program follows WWE's 2021 launch of the Next in Line NIL program, which focuses on collegiate athletes. A new report has some more details on the WWE ID program for independent schools and promotions. PW Insider reports that the program is something that WWE has been developing off and on for years, and that Gabe Sokolsky will be among those overseeing the program. Sokolsky is, of course, the former booker for Ring of Honor and Evolve. According to the report, the notion behind the school is that WWE's relationship with the accredited wrestling schools means that they can direct potential recruits to places where they can train the right way from the start of their entry into the wrestling industry. It will provide a place for talent to prep for eventual WWE tryouts or be brought into Performance Center on developmental deals. WWE will also now have established places to send the developmental talents in order to supplement what they are doing in WWE, allowing them to improve their skills in the direction that the company looks for in potential talent. Among the schools that they are started this relationship with is Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall's Nightmare Factory, Seth Rollins' Black and Brave promotion, Rikishi's Nox X Wrestling School in California, among others. Essentially, the WWE ID accredited schools will be places where people entering the business can go and train for continued improvement, with the Performance Center being more of a finishing school. A major part of the program is ensuring that WWE is preparing for the future and has different avenue for such beyond scouting independent talent and the WWE NIL program. The report notes that the notion of WWE running combined shows involving the schools or additional in live events through the program isn't currently planned, but there have been talks off and on over the last several years about a potential return of Evolve. WWE bought the company in 2020. The official announcement of WWE ID was about getting things out there now, and there is more to come. As of now, there are no immediate plans for live events or touring. Some independent promotions have expressed concern to the site Fightful during this week that this will be the American equivalent of what happened to the UK scene when WWE signed all the major British talent ahead of NXT UK's launch, which led to the British indie scene suffering due to the talent being pulled from dates and the like. It's too early to tell if those fears will come to pass. According to Brandon Thurston of Post Wrestling, several independent wrestlers are already under WWE contracts related to the WWE ID program. It was not specified which talents were under contract, but the report notes that wrestlers under such contracts are able to continue working on indie shows, and a source clarified that there aren't any current restrictions on where contracted independent talent can work, nor whether they can lose matches. In addition, the report notes that no financial support is being provided to the schools at this time. This is just the American version of the UK shit. I'm sorry. I'll say it. I know there's concerns out there, and there hasn't been anything that confirms those concerns. But the way this reads, it just reads like what they did to the UK scene.
It's exactly what they did to the UK scene. And that's why I think a lot of concerns are valid. We could say like the upside of it is like, hey, it gives opportunities for some of the independent wrestlers, right? I think that's the only upside you could really see. But on the downside, when we're looking into like the future of indie wrestling, it could definitely do way more damage than good. Because not only you're getting WWE involved, but then there might be a possibility that AEW gets involved and they do something themselves. And that's not what you want to do when it comes to a situation like this. The only thing I could think of is like, when this got reported, at least it's being done with like WWE associated schools already, because like each person already works for WWE. So I guess that was like the upside of it. I was like, well, yeah, and like you have the factory, you have
The factory has produced nice like up and coming stars for AEW, and that seems like
AEW as well, and that's why it's a little. Yeah. So like that one is that's more interesting, because I'm like, for me, it's like, how's that gonna go? Like, because QT that basically I think owns half of it, from what I know. I'm not 100% sure, but they do use like his building for the factory. Like the building that they use is QT's. It's his building. So it's interesting. But yeah, it's a blueprint to exactly what they did to the UK scene. I don't know. I guess this is the WWE's way. They said they want to be a monopoly. This is kind of their way of doing that.
Yeah, what do you think, Top Guy JJ?
Nothing about this seems positive for the future of indie wrestlers. And the reason beyond that is when the WWE gets these talents and they're going to put them under their ID tag, that's going to null and void them from doing independent shows. That's going to null and void them from making a name for themselves outside the market of the WWE. And you're not making it on the market of big time television or the ability to get a big contract if you're stuck under a development program for 3-4 years. You're going to get the same ass salary. You're going to get the same ass non-exposure, but you just can't do shit else because you're under their umbrella, because they don't want you to go and do other shit because of health reasons. And you might get injured if you go to another show and perform there, and they'll be held responsible for it. So that's why, obviously, business sense, it makes sense for them not to let people do that on a regular basis. But people is going to want to be a part of the WWE, which means they're going to sign this fucking developmental bullshit deal, and they can't do shit or get any other bookings or book themselves to go other places and make that supplemental income while making a name for themselves. Like, it takes a long time most of the time for people to make a name for themselves in the wrestling industry. The shit just doesn't happen overnight. The shit takes years of work, which means they need to do years of work to make money. And that is what the indies was for, is for them to go out there and take bookings and make money. Basically eradicating that shit if this shit goes into full swing and they sign hundreds of people that they have under this tag.
And WWE does one style. Like when they say, well, we're going to teach them the right way, that's the WWE way. The WWE way ain't the right way. It ain't the right way. That's one way. That's not the way. That's one way. And you're basically going to be like crippling the styles of wrestling that could potentially come into WWE because you want to teach them this one way of doing it. I agree with the whole, what I Make Beat said here. He says, I get how WWE has their style and it works in the right place. But like Righteous Reg said on Grab City, he said, it's wild to be cornering the market to do one fucking style and it's their one.
So they don't get to learn anything else. They don't get to fucking expose themselves to doing something that might be different, that can enhance their way. So them already taking it and making it their way from the start, they're learning nothing new. They're learning it their way, and then they got to do something that stands out under their umbrella and keep it safe under their umbrella. A lot of these indie people make names for themselves for doing risky shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and
this ain't rocket science. This ain't rocket science.
Like, you know, and it's good. Like I think those are good points because, you know, when it comes to WWE, you know, this thing of like they're saying like, oh, the right way or whatever. It's like, no, it's the right way for you guys because it works for you guys. Doesn't mean that it's right in general. So like that's why when people try to use this whole thing of like, oh, you know, wrestling, you always need stories. You always need to tell this. You also need to do this. It's like, no, you don't. It's the fact that you guys got so fucking comfortable with WWE doing this shit that you think it's the right way when it's not always the right way. Like, you know, like if I was to go to an independent show, a lot of independent shows, they don't have storylines because there's no guarantee a lot of those guys are coming back for the next show. Because they have other bookings. So we get entertaining matches, we get good matches. That's all I really want. And I actually love that shit. Like sometimes you don't always need the story. I'm like, yo, if this is what this company does, that's fine. But I'm like, not everywhere has to be that. Like, you know, so like that's why when the whole thing happens with like AEW, the criticism of AEW, it's just like, you know, it's like guys, if you want them to be like WWE, just say you want them to be like WWE. It doesn't make it
watch right. WWE.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know, and that's the same thing with like the independent scene. So like, you know, when it comes to like this whole WWE ID thing, it's just like it's just basically them trying to like, you know, it's just them trying to expand of the shit that they're already doing because the whole thing of a performance. Oh, the performance center is like the last like the last school. I was like, what the fuck?
Finishing
is this?
School.
It's like college, finishing school. Like, what is this? College? Like,
it's like we'll let you go to high school, but we want to recruit you early in your junior year, like they're football players and basketball players.
Yeah, and I'm like, wasn't that the whole point of the performance center to begin with? Like, isn't that what you guys were doing? I was like, it just seems like you guys are wanting to do less work, so you have all these scholars involved. So it's like, all right, you could do like these stuff here. Let's let's just have these kids sign these contracts because, like you said, like that's the easiest way to get a lot of them because that's their way in, and they feel like if they sign these kind of deals, they're gonna feel like that's their way in. And realistically, even if you sign 100 people, there's like that big percentage. There's not a big percentage of people who are gonna make it. And we're talking about NXT,
like anywhere from like 3 to 10%. Yeah,
they're talking about like that's a very small margin of people that's gonna make it. And it's not, to me, that's why it's not really ideal. Like, I get what they're doing, and I get like some of the kids, like they feel like this is a great opportunity for them, right? And if they know what they're getting themselves into, hey, that's that's your call. That's fine. But yeah, and it's just like when it comes down to it, it's just you're gonna have to know what you're getting yourself into. And once you're under the WWE brand, they basically own you, and they could do whatever the fuck they want, and that's why it's pretty scary on that aspect too.
Ideally, it's like if you're making this decision, because the indies are still out there, so it's not like they're just gone because of ID. Now you, as an adult, as a young adult, are gonna have to make a choice to bet on yourself under a managed umbrella, or do shit your way and get noticed. You're gonna have to now make a decision that could affect your life, because if you decide to go to this umbrella, you're betting on the engine to help you excel your talents. With the indies, you're doing whatever the fuck you want, and hopefully it pushes through, and then you get eyeballs on you. That could take a lot less time than you under an umbrella of maybe that 3 to 10% that's going to make it, compared to the other 90% that's going to just waste years of their life developing to nothing, and then go backwards and then decide I'm going to now go to the indies, when you could have been in the indies years ago. You could have been in the fucking indies doing this for 3-4 years ahead of fucking developing yourself for what, 40-50 grand a year under the WWE umbrella, if even that much. Like, you now as an adult have to make a choice of what you're going to do that is going to work for you. Like, and obviously there's going to be influences. There's going to be people in your ears buzzing of, oh, you can make it if you go to the WWE. But then your fucking other side is like, yo, I need to do this shit my way. You're going to have to start listening to that other conversation and start to make it, because this is going to affect people's lives in a big way, because it could take years or it could take your entire wrestling career.
Yeah. And then even, and then honestly, even with that, like, we're like when it comes to WWE, like I said earlier, this is gonna force AEW to do something too. Like, not like to this extent, but they're gonna do things that they're probably gonna start signing people ahead of time, kind of like what they did with Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne was actually signed with AEW before he turned 18, and when he turned 18, that's when his actual contract kicked in. So I think, like, when it comes to stuff like that, it's gonna force AEW to do things, and then guess what? It's not gonna end up being good. Like, it's not. It's regardless of like how we feel about AEW, I'm like, it's not gonna be a good thing all around for independent wrestling, because that's something I wouldn't want. Like, they're gonna be forced to do something because of another company. And I was like, in a way, I would understand, but then it's like, it's not doing good for anybody. It's something that, I mean, again, we haven't really seen the full scale of it yet. But like I said before, I think all these concerns are like, I think they're valid. I think they're in every way, they're like very good, legit, good concerns to have.
Yeah, because you guys said some stuff that I didn't even think of, because I've had to talk about this with, like, the Dutch Mantels of the world who have a very old school kind of mindset to it, but you guys are bringing up stuff that I didn't even think of when I was talking about it earlier this week.
I mean, it's just the world is evolving, like, it's evolving. So you gotta think you and what you believe that is gonna work for you, because now you choose to go under the umbrella, you lose the ability to have like this excess freedom of developing and building a specific character that you want. Now you gotta get approval to do this character if you go under the umbrella. And now when you have the approval, there's a pressure to execute it perfectly. And that doesn't exist in the world. Once you get approval that something's going to work perfectly, that shit is going to take years to perfect. And I end this essentially with a question, right? Besides the Golden Goose gifted Braun Breaker, who was the last NXT person to break through in the WWE?
Well, I mean, you mean like a developmental talent?
Yes, somebody
that didn't come from like the indies or from outside of the company.
That came from NXT.
It's on the men's side. It's very a rare thing. I think there's more ladies, definitely on the ladies end. Like Bianca Belair is a full WWE PC product,
right? But how long ago was this?
Well, Bianca came in like 2017, but Tiffany Stratton is another one who's a pure WWE Performance Center product, and she came in 2021.
So it takes years.
Yeah,
like it takes years, and that is what, 2 people.
I think the talent they have now, the NIL girls, are definitely developing at a fast pace. But like it's just really gonna be bad for like the independent scene, and then the types of wrestling that we can see on the bigger stage, because the indie wave of like the 2000s, 2010s has really dictated what AEW puts out there as the number 2 promotion in the world. And then dating back to the late 90s and the early 2000s, the independent scene developed what TNA and ROH would become, and they were the 2 kind of predominant companies outside of WWE, and then those guys were able to go up into WWE, and it further evolved the WWE style. So like, you are hindering the independent scene that could be the next wave of what the in-ring product on the major promotions can be by WWE trying to do this.
And as a young person, it's gonna be tough to turn down the WWE umbrella, because you're blanketed with like an insurance of protection and a fucking creative crew and all this shit. So if you're young and not even up and coming, like you're just getting an upstart, like how hard is that gonna be to turn down if you're an upstart? Like you're gonna fucking jump at that shit. Like how could you not?
There's already a bunch of talent that went on social media.
So
trying to shoot their shot for stuff.
So killing the indies, if this shit goes into full swing, you could see it.
Speaking of the developmental, NXT had a big week this past week. You had NXT Halloween Havoc last Sunday. The show features Stephanie Vaquer and Julia picking up the win over Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade in a great tag team matchup. Post-match, Zarya made an appearance in the press box looking down on all 4 ladies. Later in the show, we had Fallon Henley defeating Kalani Jordan in a gauntlet match to win the NXT Women's North American Championship. But post-match, Zarya reappeared in the ring to lay out all 3 members of Fatal Influence. Tony D'Angelo retained the NXT North American Championship by defeating Obafemi in a fun tables, ladders, and scares matchup. Very hard-hitting physical encounter between the 2 horses. Ridge Holland beat Andre Chase to win the ambulance match. Then he also got into a confrontation with Bubba Ray Dudley, who is co-hosting the show alongside Busted Open Radio's Dave LaGreca. And then the end of the night, you had Trick Williams defeating Ethan Page in a good Devil's Playground main event matchup to retain the NXT Championship. Post-match, Ridge Holland and Ethan Page jumped Trick Williams for Bubba Ray Dudley. Bubba Ray Dudley made the save for Trick Williams. And that led into WWE NXT. They did 588,000 viewers, so down significantly from the past few weeks on the CW, thanks to the competition from the MLB's World Series. The show featured Trick Williams asking Bubba Ray to team with him to face Ethan Page and Ridge Holland at the former ECW arena next Wednesday. But Bubba said that he didn't want to take any of the young guys' spots. Later in the show, Ethan Page and Ridge Holland talked trash about Bubba until he came down and was attacked by both men until Trick made the save. This led to Bubba Ray basically saying, fuck those kids. Finally accepting Trick Williams as his tag team partner against Page and Holland for next week's ECW arena show. Fraxium, Nathan Frazier and Axiom retained the NXT Tag Team Championships in an awesome main event matchup against Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander. Tatum Paxley defeated Wendy Chu in a fun casket match. Zarya made her in-ring debut in a win over Brenlyn Reese. Post-match Fatal Influence, Cara Jade, and Roxanne Perez came out to interrupt. This led to Kalani Jordan first coming down to have Zarya's back, then Stephanie Beguer and Julia. And then TNA's Jordan Grace came out for an all-out brawl between all 10 women to set up a 10-woman tag for next Wednesday's ECW Arena show. Great segment here. I'm definitely looking forward to that 10-woman tag. NXT Halloween Havoc. I'm sorry, the show ended with Bubba Ray Dudley ending the show. I don't know how I can stress this more. I felt like I was going crazy having to review this show on my own last Monday. It felt like I was going insane. Why is Bubba Ray in NXT?
I feel bad for you. Yeah, that. Hey, you know what? I ain't even mad at Bubba. Get that check, bro. Get that check. Fuck them young people. Yo,
well, I mean, it don't help his case.
He just put on one of the worst matches.
Yeah, he had a 72-hour mind change.
I hate this guy. I hate this guy. Like, why? He had one of the objectively one of the worst matches of the year against Jinder Mahal at Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. Why is he even here?
48 hours, bro. He changed. Actually, 48 hours. He changed his mind in 48 hours. He said, fuck them young people. Give me that bag, bro. Give me that bag. He couldn't bring somebody. He couldn't bring somebody and be like, you know what? I got somebody for you, and this is who he's gonna. He said, nah, I'm taking that bread. Fuck that.
And then every time he's associated with WWE, it really does not help his case of him trying to say, oh, that he's unbiased. Get the fuck out of here. Like this don't help his case at all. And then the fact that he even has a match, I'm like, oh.
A match, bro. He has a match.
I mean, I guess it's a good thing that he has a match because, oh my god, the fucking ideas he's been giving lately of like his so-called fantasy booking. Oh my god, like
no,
man,
I don't understand this.
There's something wrong with him when he keeps bringing up like, bro, like there's something must be wrong with him mentally. If I'm like, bro, if you really think like your idea of like somebody getting heat has him involved with somebody treating like a woman like shit, something is wrong with you at this point. Like there's something seriously wrong with you at this point because like I'm sick of hearing it from him. And I'm sick of people agreeing with, oh my god, that's such a fantastic idea. I'm like, no, what the fuck is not? It's fucking horrible. We're in 2024. Where is this a good fucking idea? And this is the same guy who was it that he complained about that they did something or said something like as a promo and he was complaining about it. And we're just like, Bubba Ray, weren't you the same one that told a mom to like, you know, give head in the audience or something at ECW?
Yeah, it was Mox. Our producer says it was Mox that he was criticizing. So
right, he criticized Mox, but then I'm like, wait a minute, but yet your idea for Jon Moxley's storyline was for Moxley to put his hands on Renee. What? Like, excuse me? Like, that's your fucking idea? I'm like, oh, all right. All right, Bully
Domestic
Ray.
violence ain't- He wants a domestic violence thing.
His mind is like, this generation's too soft. They too soft.
No,
bro.
but that's the thing. Look, that's the thing, though. He did the same thing about Ricochet when Ricochet was on his way out. No, but he did the same thing with Ricochet. He was like, "Oh, that if WWE resigns Ricochet, what they need to do is they need to do an angle where Braun Breaker is harassing Samantha." So I'm just like, so you're making Braun Breaker to be a pervert for Ricochet to come back? Like, what? Like, are you kidding me? You know that to your young star, the young guy that does not need this. That's what you would do with him. I'm like, all right, bro. This is exactly why Ring of Honor died. This is exactly why it died.
Like, because he was in charge of booking.
Yeah, if he was in charge of booking for WWE, they'd be out of business in a year.
Pretty much.
Out of business in a year.
We got our good brother Will Chisholm with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Will. Good to see you in the chat. He says, what does this mean for the NIL stuff? Because what does the WWE ID stuff means if they bring in people like Julia, Stephanie Vicaire, and Delta and Jordan Grace to be fast-tracked in NXT? It means that the NIL program is not working out with the speed that they really wanted, because they still have to go to the independent. And it was obvious because yeah, these ladies are way talented than they should be with having like a handful of matches, but they're not. You literally this summer you had Roxanne Perez and then all these girls that have like 30 matches under their belt. And that's where you were at with the NXT women's division. So they needed to bring in Julia, Stephanie Vicaire, Zarya. They needed to bring those ladies in. They need to have Jordan Grace on loan for the summer from TNA because they were in desperate times, because the NIL program is going at a good pace for where they should be, but not at the pace that WWE basically intended them to be at.
Yeah, and then also the problem with that is like these NIL deals is like you're getting athletes that don't have wrestling experience, so you're trying to do stuff with them that a lot of them might not even pick it up, right? It's like from what I understand, like Kalani Jordan, she's an NIL person, right? Yeah. I could be right. Yeah. And then with her, it's like, yeah, we see she has skill in the ring, but she has zero character. Like, there's nothing about her that really excites me, to be honest with you. Like, yeah, she does some good stuff in the ring, but I'm like, if your whole brand is about, right, you go on about telling stories and characters, right? HBK is always talking about like, oh, the characters matter more than the in-ring stuff. Yet you have somebody who's good in the ring, but yet has zero character. Like, I mean, that's where I'm at when it comes to the NIL stuff, you know. And then we could say, you know, like this guy Opafemi has worked out, like, you know, because he really doesn't need a character. He's what he is. Like, he's a fucking monster, right? Even though I said what I said a couple of weeks ago about him, but I'm like,
he's last time Top Guy DJ was on here.
Yeah, right. But like, he's an example of like somebody working out, because he did get the title and he did look dominant. Like, they did a good job when it comes to him looking dominant, that I think that he should be next in line for an NXT title. Like, that's how good they've done with him, right? But when it comes to this NIL stuff, I'm like, I already knew, because I'm like, you're getting people that don't have a real background, right? It's kind of like signing somebody to a minor league baseball contract that has no experience in baseball. So you're trying to start them from the very bottom, and then you're hoping for them to work out. That's how I see it.
Yeah, it's going to be hit or miss, but that's a perfect segue to bring up some news about Obafemi from this week. Fightful Select had an update on a rumor that emerged on Monday, October 28th on social media, stating that Obafemi was saying his goodbyes backstage at last Sunday's NXT Halloween Havoc. The rumor originated from PW Nexus, that was later picked up by other media outlets, stating that Obafemi said his goodbyes to the roster at the PLE and believed he was bound for the Raw roster and could potentially debut as early as last Monday. Mark PWN later claimed that the rumor came from a private account. Obafemi did not appear last Monday on Raw. Fightful Select's Corey Brennan asked about the rumor with NXT sources, which was reportedly met with ignorance regarding a main roster call-up for Obafemi. Sources range from people working in production, the talent roster, and otherwise, stating that they did not hear about Obafemi saying his goodbyes after his loss to Tony D'Angelo at Halloween Havoc. Those within NXT and told Fightful that they expect Femi to remain in NXT at the moment. Femi has reportedly been viewed as a potential future WWE champion. Also, several sources in NXT informed Fightful that they believe that Femi was next in line for the NXT championship after Trick Williams. However, it is not yet confirmed if this is in WWE's immediate plans. Additionally, the report notes that when an NXT talent says their goodbyes to the brand, the news is rarely kept a secret, and usually videos are posted to social media, such as when former NXT champion Braun Breaker was filmed after his final match on the brand. So a non-starter, but do you think Obafemi is ready for a main roster call-up at this point? Jimmy Macaram has been adamant. He believes he is ready. What about you, Top Guy JJ? I know you're a fan.
I am a huge fan of Obafemi, as clearly documented a couple weeks ago, but I think Oba needs one NXT championship run. One time as an NXT champion to fucking put his stamp on that company and get Trick Williams ready for the main roster. Because I think Trick should be first. Because I think Trick should go ahead of him, because Trick has put in the work. He's put in the character work. He's put in the aura. He has it all. He's ready. Like Trick, you can fucking ball him up, put him on any of these two brands, and Trick will be fine. Oba needs a little bit more polishing because of where he would be placed on the main roster. He would be placed as a big player on the main roster. And I think he needs some more signature wins, and he needs work with more diverse talent to be able to work with the diversity that's on the main roster. So, yes, I want Obafemi on the main roster, but I think he needs one NXT championship run before he leaves.
That's fair. That's fair. I already know how you feel, Josh, but do you have anything to say?
I mean, when it comes to that, yeah, I think a little bit more time NXT doesn't hurt him. I do agree that, yeah, if this is the next guy you really want in line, give him the NXT title first. There's no need for him to rush, because even if you bring him up right now, what is he really going to do? They're kind of already set with a lot of stuff with their title pictures, and it's just like,
yeah,
I think NXT title run is way better than like you putting him on the main roster and him going after you have which title, the IC title, which he's not beating Braun Breaker for, the US title he's not beating LA Knight for, so it's like better off being in NXT for a little bit longer. But he has done things already that it makes him, I think by the time it happens, he could be ready and you could feel comfortable with sending him to the main roster. But I don't think right now is a good time, not because of him, but because of where they're at right now when it comes to like story wise and all that stuff. And then also, I mean, you're gonna set him up before Trick. That's a little weird to me. Like you're gonna set him up before Trick Williams, and I'm like, Trick Williams. I'm not a big fan of Trick Williams's wrestling, but obviously he's worked on his character. He's worked on the mic stuff, which I think that's good enough to the point that it's like, obviously he feels like they're doing things for him and that he kind of feels more ready compared to like if you're telling me which two is ready. Trick is more ready. So I'm like, it's better off sending him up first, because I think, I don't know, that it wouldn't be a good look. I'm like, you're gonna send Obafemi first, but Trick is still there, and Trick has been doing a lot. I don't know.
And he's a 2-time NXT champion. You don't send Obafemi that hasn't won. Obafemi needs to get to the Royal Rumble and wreck shop first. He needs to do that moment first. His perfect debut would be the night after WrestleMania. Like that's like perfect timing for him, because he would have established something on the main roster. He would have a couple of interactions with the main roster people. Somebody's gonna eliminate him, and he can come in with some fucking meat on the bones, not just some fresh guy that just comes in and just starts fucking people up for no reason.
Yeah, I don't want that shit either. Like I want something significant for the guy. But then also I do worry about, because we got Triple H up there.
Yeah. Strike while the fucking iron is hot. Strike while the iron is hot. Have him fucking debut on the main roster at War Games or some shit. Like for no fucking reason.
And then he doesn't win his first title until next year's War Games.
Until next Survivor Series.
Hey, let's move over to AEW. AEW.
Like, haven't these niggas learned from the fucking LA Knight shit?
Nope. AEW Fright Night Dynamite was this past Wednesday. They did 628,000 viewers against the World Series. The show featured Private Party defeating the Young Bucks in a tremendous tag team encounter to win the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Of course, such a great matchup. Probably the best match of Private Party's career. The 5-year journey is completed. Orange Cassidy cut a very good promo to kick things off, as he talked about how he needs AEW, unlike Jon Moxley, before challenging him for the AEW World title. This led to Moxley's response, saying that he is the one who has done the challenging of Orange, and saying that they took out Chuck Taylor so he can focus on what's important. Since Orange said that he wouldn't let anyone else get hurt, they baited him by looking like they were going to attack Wheeler Yuta next, but they all jumped OC until Dark Order came out to make the save. They were beaten down as well until Darby Allin returned for the first time since AEW Wrestle Dream, coming down on a zip line from the Raptors to fight off the BCC with the AEW locker room. This sets up Orange Cassidy challenging Jon Moxley for the AEW World title at Full Gear. Adam Cole, baby, made his in-ring return for the first time in 15 months as he beat Buddy Matthews in a rock-solid opener to the show. Post-match, Cole thanked Buddy for showing him who the real Adam Cole is, shook his hand until the lights went out, and when they came back on, it was Malachi Black shaking Cole's hand to set up Black versus Cole on next Wednesday's show. Chris Statlander beat Camille in her first loss in AEW. Post-match, Statlander was jumped from behind by Mercedes Moné, who hit her with the TBS championship before telling Camille to get to the back. Kyle Fletcher called out Will Ospreay knowing he was hurt, but he got the returning Mark Davis instead, who called out Fletcher for betraying Ospreay. Fletcher offered Davis a spot in the Don Callis family and says that he has a decision to make soon. Swerve Strickland defeated Shelton Benjamin in a very good main event. Post-match, MVP made a call and brought the debuting Bobby Lashley to a huge ovation from the crowd to stare down with Swerve. After a distraction from Shelton, Lashley attacked Swerve while MVP and Shelton laid out Prince Nana, and the show closed with MVP saying that guess who's back in business after they took out all of the security who came out to make the save for Swerve and Nana. I thought that this was the best Dynamite in weeks. This is the show they needed after last week with their pathetic showing on last Wednesday's show. This show had the big moment with Bobby Lashley's debut, the great match with Private Party and the Young Bucks, a huge Dynamite moment with Private Party finally winning the gold, and you Swerve and Shelton, two black men in the main event of a Dynamite, and they delivered in the spot. Shelton Benjamin has been the biggest benefit of them being patient with Bobby Lashley making his debut, because they could have debuted him at Wrestle Dream, but they were patient enough to let it play out until this night. the stuff with the BCC worked well because it feels so chaotic. Like JJ, I know you grew up in this era. It feels very much like the early stages of NWO on Nitro, where they just have this chaotic feeling where the whole locker room is coming at them. Darby playing the role of Sting is great, coming down from the Raptors for his return. That was awesome. This is the Dynamite that we need, and I need them to be consistent with this shit and stop doing this every other week of trash shows. What did you think?
That's the thing of That's the thing of weekly television, man. Unfortunately, it's like and you kind of get to see that they get to build a little bit, and sometimes it takes an off week for them to have a stellar week. And this paid off. It paid off. One of the best, really, really, really good episode of Dynamite. Really, really good. Like, and the funny thing is that we talked about this when I was back in Indianapolis, when I was on vacation, talking about Private Party finally needing to do something that means something, because they've been there since day one and they've been showing like little glimpses, and they were on TV for multiple weeks in a row. It's like, come on, pull the trigger. Like they're good enough. Let's now they mean something in AEW. And damn, that was long overdue. Like when you see it happen, it's like, damn, that shit was so overdue. But they did it. They did it. So it's like, because sometimes we say something's overdue and it never happens. This happened. So great kudos to them for finally getting it done. And I'm getting a little bit more into this Mox versus the world and trying to change the way of AEW, and then everybody's coming after him. Like I'm kind of digging it a little bit more now. Like I said, I just needed time for it to process and for weeks to take place, because I kind of was feeling a little muddy, but now it's getting better and better. It is getting better and better. I swear to God, I better not see another fucking person alive wearing a fucking maroon suit, because you will not look like Bobby Lashley. Because Bobby Lashley made it look good. Oh, that suit was horrendous, but it was on Bobby Lashley, and that shit looked fire. But yeah, seeing Shelton Benjamin in an important spot for the first time in years felt so good. Felt so good to see that, and he was actually busting ass. Like he was doing, like he was looking good. Obviously, the man's like fucking damn near 50. I dare somebody even attempt to have the style that Shelton Benjamin has 10 years earlier than that. Like Shelton Benjamin's a gift. And I'm glad that AEW is gonna, hopefully continue this and keep him looking and feeling important, because that's what we talked about the last time, is make this shit important. Like, it gotta be important. And just a little side note, I'm actually really digging the Kyle Fletcher haircut, because it completely, to me, separates him from Will Ospreay now. It literally looked like
did you see his gear last night on Collision? He went to Trunks. He stopped the long tights too. I was like, that's a great move. He's really trying to be like, I don't want no more Ospreay compare. Ospreay does the tights, I'm gonna do Trunk. Ospreay's got blonde hair. I shaved off my hair. I'm separating myself.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that for him, because he is a fucking hell of a talent. He is a hell of a talent. And just to be compared, like, yeah, that's Will Ospreay light. Like, nah, you're gonna start to know him as Kyle fucking Fletcher now. So I love the makeover. I absolutely love the makeover. So that was really good too. I'm still trying to like somewhat have an investment feeling of anything Mercedes Moné story wise. I'm trying, but like I just wasn't feeling it. But we'll see how it progresses. But it is involved in one of my absolute favorites in AEW, Chris Statlander. So see how that goes. And yeah, listen, people on the internet is going way too hard on Adam Cole right now. Like going way too hard on Adam Cole right now. Like this this man just haven't been through injuries for the past like 2.5, 3 years. I want, like, it's almost like people don't go through anything that these people go through and then still have to go back to work and still be at the highest of high levels and then just get on their fucking phones and they start, he has the body of a 12-year-old. Oh, he got to hit the gym. Like, what are you doing? You fucking streaming on fucking Twitch? You're fucking streaming World of Warcraft? You're fucking streaming Fortnite? You're fucking internet fucks? Like that's what the fuck you people are doing. So this man is,
we had that going on during the Wrestle Dream. We had that on our Wrestle Dream review. We had somebody keep bringing that up, and I'm just like, you do realize Adam Cole didn't wrestle tonight, and yet you're talking about his physique. All right,
you're obsessed pricks. Like fuck you fucking obsessing over a man's body for. Like, the fuck? Can he perform? Can he fucking do what he needs to do in the ring? Is he fucking putting on a show for you? Is he entertaining you as a fucking audience? Yes, the fuck he is. So shut the fuck up. Like the fuck? Like why don't you fucking put a side by side of you and him and then fucking do that shit shirtless with most of the fucking people? There will be a few out there that's fucking stellar. But I bet you 90% of the motherfuckers will fucking look like fucking twigs or fucking looking like they fucking shoved like 97 fucking pounds of fucking lasagna in a fucking system and it just sits there, you know? But chill. Like, the fuck? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, but yeah, because I literally, and it's not even, I don't need, this shit ain't even on my algorithm. Like, it's literally, it just pops up on feeds.
Just
like it just doesn't even make sense. Like, you know, sometimes, like, I don't know how the fuck the internet world does this. Like, you think of something and then it fucking shows up on your phone. Bro, we ain't even thinking of this shit. And it just shows up on your phone. Like how? It's just annoying to see that shit, man. Like, damn, yo. People go through real life shit. They don't fucking just sleep in a hibernation chamber or live in a gym for fucking 25 hours a fucking day when there's only 24 and then pop out to fucking AEW through a curtain. Like, there's life outside of that shit. He's still rehabbing. He's still fucking getting himself better. Like, god damn, like, could he do a little bit more? Obviously, like, you compare him to everybody else, but the man has been through fucking injuries for the last 2 years.
Exactly. The concussion and then an ankle injury. Like, yeah, that's tough.
Like, he had a fucking brain injury. He had multiple fucking leg injuries. He had a shoulder injury. Like, this man was hurt from fucking top to bottom. Like,
he was dealing with it, man. I feel for him, but yeah. And AEW didn't do him any favors by putting him against a human syringe, Buddy Matthews. So it's on a lot of levels. It's difficult. Josh, any small thoughts on Fright Night Dynamite this week?
It was way better than the previous week. There's just something about that episode I didn't like. There was a lot of shit that was like all over the place. Wasn't good paced at all. You know, it was kind of like the previous week. It was kind of like they had good ideas, but then they don't know what the fuck they're going with it. And you know, that was the problem with me. But this past week, I'm like, it was definitely a upgrade. I enjoyed how paced it was. I enjoyed Private Party finally winning because I really thought there was a chance. I'm like, oh fuck, they're definitely not winning. And you know, they really put Isaiah over. They really did their fucking job, really putting that kid over. I was happy to see that, just because, you know, like we know Private Party from the HOG days. So this is one of the you know, two of the wrestlers that we've been following for such a long time from the New York area. So to see them finally getting their moment, it was good. But then also, you know, with the tag division being where it's at now, I mean, this is something they had to do too, you know, and I think that this is a good thing. Like, you know, you're giving guys other opportunities. that really need it, right? Like the Outrunners have become super over out of nowhere. You know, they don't need the titles right now. They don't need the titles, but they're super over. And then, you know, you did something with Private Party, you put them into a significant storyline that ended up working out because they ended up being the champions. So they're doing things, and I'm like, hey, you know, go with what you have right now. Like put these, you know, see what these kids got. See the talent that you've had since day one. You know, do something with them, and that's a perfect example of that they finally did something with that. And as far as the main event goes, I mean, I've been loving the shit they've been doing with Sean and Benjamin. Like, I'm like the 3 matches he's had, yo. Like, I'm like, yo, I don't think I've ever seen like Sean and Benjamin like this feel like this important ever. I mean,
and the
obviously
violence too. Like he's a violent person now. I love it.
Yeah. He works like he's Black Brock Lesnar in the ring.
Yeah, and I was just like,
spot. I talked about it on AE Ramble this week, but the one spot in that Swerve matchup when Swerve hits the 450 and Shelton kicks out and immediately grabs his waist into a German suplex. I've never seen that before. I've never seen someone kick out and go into a German suplex.
Like, but like it's kind of crazy. I was like, yo, like how important they've made him feel since he got on camera, because they made him feel important. Like even in the fucking Hurt Syndicate, he doesn't feel like what he did in WWE with the Hurt Business. The Hurt Business was kind of like, it kind of felt like they were like, hey, we need some guys that could work with this, and you know, and ended up working out, right? But like, right. You know, right? And but now, like, you kind of see like how it works. Like you see, like,
you know,
not only that he's talking, you know, like not only that he's talking, but they make him feel important. Like he doesn't feel like a fucking like a supporting cast member. And even his matches, like the fucking first match with Leo Rush, I was like, God damn, like I've never seen this side of this guy. Like he freaking killed Leo Rush. And he had the match with Sammy Guevara, and then, you know, the main event was great. And I thought the way they presented Lashley, I thought that was great. Especially the way they did it, and he came out and he had that suit. You know, like I mean, I would never be able to wear that suit because, you know, I look the way that I look. He looks the way that he looks.
99% of humans won't be able to wear that suit, bro.
To be fair,
yeah, I mean, yeah. I'll probably look like Arthur from Joker, because like I wouldn't be able to pull that off. But I thought that was great, man. That was some great shit. Like the way they presented, and especially MVP on the phone. he calling the phone, and then
he's right backstage. He's right backstage. He had to give him a call.
And he came out through the middle entrance. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
The elite entrance. They gave him the elite entrance. Like,
absolutely.
So, I mean, that was dope.
Give him like the masterpiece, the old Chris Master entrance where he just flexes to start off when they do the doom 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 doom. Oh, man. And the theme song I like.
Yeah, that was great stuff. Like it actually really makes me look forward to seeing Lashley versus Swerve. Like you wanted to make this guy important, and I feel like they've done things so far. Like, you know, again, MVP has a vision, and you know, he's been very open on Twitter about it. Like, hey, you know, like good things are coming, and he's been open of like basically Tony Khan giving him like a lot of like pull when it comes to the Hurt Syndicate stuff. So far it's been great. They've been doing a great job when it comes to that, in my opinion, and I look forward to seeing what's next when it comes to that.
Facts. As previously we talked about, Bobby Lashley making his debut on Dynamite this week. Fightful Select reports that Lashley's debut was actually planned for earlier in the month at one point. The original plan was for Lashley to debut and attack Strickland at AEW Wrestle Dream. However, with the show ending with Bryan Danielson being retired and attacked, the call was made to have another hometown favorite, Swerve, go unscathed. Lashley has been signed to AEW since September, and it should also be noted that the YouTube video of Bobby Lashley's debut surpassed 1 million views on AEW's YouTube channel, which is a big number in comparison to the rest of the clips for the show. Like
something that we talk, Bobby Lashley has fucking aura, bro. Like, he is a presence. Like, and that is why so many people were angry with how he was handled in the last year of his WWE career. is because you're just wasting this presence. Like, he's a walking presence. Like, and just fucking let it fall to the wayside. Hopefully AEW just fucking treasures that shit, because that man is gold.
Absolutely agreed there. The other big note that happened on AEW Dynamite, like I said before, Private Party winning the AEW World Tag Team titles. After the win, the Young Bucks went and said that they decided to go home for the foreseeable future to Christopher Daniels backstage as they left the building after shredding documents in their locker room. PW Insider reports that this was the end of the current storyline for the tag team, and they are not expected to return to AEW TV for quote-unquote some time. However, they are still with the company as they are still on their current deals with All Elite Wrestling. Should get to this super chat donation. Thank you so much. I believe it was is it King Ellie Show? Let me go right here. King Ellie Show, who sent a super chat donation asking, how do you feel if the Young Bucks come back and save AEW? I don't think they should be the ones. I think that this story with the BCC, it should be Darby Allin, who is the savior. Darby Allin, who's the savior, because the story started with Darby having to watch Bryan Danielson being taken out. It should end with Darby Allin beating Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. The only way I would accept the Young Bucks coming back in a babyface role and going back after the Blackpool Combat Club is if they are with Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is that's the only option outside of Darby who could be another savior for all AEW.
Yeah. And then and then you know what I'm saying, and then even with that, you would have to make a storyline that has them go back together. You just can't like I'm not gonna forget that you guys beat his ass on TV. You got to make that make sense. Don't just come back. Make them babyface off of that. So no, but I do agree. I think that should be the focus, which should be like Darby being that for the Elite. Even if they come back, like when they come back, it's just they should still be heels, because I still think that program between them and Kenny needs to happen, just so we could get some good shit off on TV. But then also, like, if this is the way of bringing back together, you have to make it make sense, and that's the best way to do it before any type of babyface turn happens.
No cap, man. I as a professional rap, I genuinely miss the presence of Kenny Omega. I can't AEW is missing that element, man. Like, Kenny Omega is beyond special, man. Like, I hope that he recovers and he is back to what he can be, because AEW is a different company when that man is a part of it, man.
And we got some Kenny Omega news to get to shortly here, but one final news note before we talk about Collision last night, which I would say it was a great week for AEW, because that was the best episode of Collision, which we'll get into shortly here. But Bandito has been out of action for AEW since June of last year, but could be closer to a return to the ring. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that the luchador has been cleared to wrestle and was backstage at Dynamite last week. Bandito suffered a broken wrist that required multiple surgeries to repair, but there's so many talents that have said that they are pretty much ready to come back. It's just like how AEW is going to put them, because I know Powerhouse Hobbs has said he's ready to come back for some time now. Julia Hart, Bandito. There's just so many names that they have on the shelf. They just have to figure out ways to kind of bring them out.
Just space them out as well. Space it out.
Agreed.
Don't blow your load in a month. Just don't do like 3 weeks in a row of returns and just kind of take away the steam of their comebacks.
Yeah, that is true. But AEW Collision last night, like I said, this is one of the better shows of Collision, because it really felt like a early 2000s SmackDown. Like how SmackDown was basically a continuation of Monday Night Raw. This what Collision felt like last night. It felt like a natural continuation of Fright Night Dynamite. The show featured Mariah May defeating Anna Jay in a rock-solid main event to retain the AEW Women's World Championship. You also had Private Party kicked off the show with an in-ring celebration for the AEW World Tag Team title win, teasing tension with FTR before the Outrunners made cooler heads prevail. Later in the show, you had the Acclaim teasing tension with one another and teasing going after the tag team titles after Max Caster still had MVP's card in his pocket and both men started stealing each other's catchphrases. Then commentary announced a 4-way contender series that to determine who will challenge Private Party in a 4-way matchup for the titles at Full Gear. So we'll have a couple of weeks of good stuff when it comes to the tag team division. Kyle Fletcher beat Commander in an absolutely sensational bout. This had no business being as fucking great as it was. Like, this is probably the best that Commander has looked in an AEW ring. Post-match, Fletcher attacked Commander until Mark Davis came out to make the save, stopping him before Fletcher walked away. Also, Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita challenged Ricochet and a partner of his choosing to a tag team matchup on next week's Dynamite. Thunder Rosa picked up a win over Harley Cameron in a pretty fun Day of the Dead matchup. Probably Harley Cameron's best matchup in AEW so far. Roderick Strong beat Shane Taylor to get his first win in this MJF Gauntlet series with him and Adam Cole. AEW World Champion Jon Moxley appeared on the show, invading Philly, which is the hometown of his challenger, Orange Cassidy, for Full Gear. With BCC's Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir. He praised Yuta as a representative of Philly before fellow Philly native Action Andretti came out to challenge him, only for Pac to attack to set up a matchup, which Pac won with the Brutalizer. Post-match, Orange Cassidy showed up to call out Yuta for allowing BCC to take out his trainer and mentor, Chuck Taylor, and using him as bait on Wednesday before Moxley slapped the shit out of Yuta and told him to go after Orange Cassidy. However, Yuta hesitated, which allowed OC to grab the chair from him and hit him with an orange punch. So he stood tall and walked away from what Tony Schiavone is calling them the Death Riders. So we've on this show we heard Nigel call them BCC and the Moxley Combat Crew, and then we heard Tony Schiavone call them the Death Riders. So they're kind of playing with the name of this group for a little bit. Also, you had Rampage on Friday. The show featured Commander defeating Leo Rush in a good main event. Top Flight beat Dark Order after Ancient Andretti took advantage of Alex Reynolds' injury. Queen Aminata beat Layla Gray. Taya Valkyrie defeated Zoe Lynn. During her entrance, it was revealed Taya and Deanna are now known as the Vendetta. And post-match, Stokely Hathaway convinced Taya that Lynn was talking trash, so Valkyrie attacked her some more after the matchup. And LFI defeated the Butcher, Beef, and JD Drake in the opener. But like I said, I thought Collision was great this week. This was the best episode of Collision in a while because it felt like a natural continuation of Dynamite, and they progressed some stories, especially the BCC story. It actually made it feel like this was a genuine show of consequence, which Collision tends to not feel like. So I really, really enjoyed Collision this week. And like I said,
hopefully it can fucking keep that going, because you talk about inconsistent. That's Collision.
Yeah. The last 2 weeks has been good. I would say last week was good. This week was great because they followed up with the Private Party title win. They followed up with the BCC. When you have the top program being progressed in some way on this show, it tends to feel a lot more important. So that's a key. They're going to have to keep doing stuff like that. And then they also announced that the Hurt Syndicate will be live on Dynamite this week. So they had a lot of announcements for matches for Dynamite, some matches for Full Gear, the 4-way for the tag team titles, as well as Chris Statlander officially challenged Mercedes Moné for the TBS championship at Full Gear as well. So when you announce stuff for the pay-per-view and the upcoming Dynamite, it actually feels like a show that you should be watching. What they have to keep doing, especially with the new TV deal. But To finish up with the news from AEW, as previously reported, Dustin Rhodes' AEW contract is set to expire at the end of September. It was supposed to expire end of September, early October. Fightful had an update on his contract status, and the report notes that while Rhodes' contract did expire, he's not definitely out of AEW just yet. It said that both sides are in talks for a new contract for Dustin. The report notes that negotiations have been ongoing between both sides, but no deal has reportedly been put in place yet. Rhodes has not wrestled for AEW or ROH for over a month now. He was on ROH TV this week, but he's been more active overall in 2024 for the first time since like 2020. Besides his work as a wrestler, Rhodes has also worked behind the scenes as a coach, trainer, especially for the AEW women's division. Meanwhile, AEW has announced a match for a 0 hour portion of AEW Full Gear, as Costco guy AJ will take on QT Marshall. Big Justice will be in AJ's corner. As previously reported, AJ signed a 1-match contract with AEW, and this is the match that will happen. How excited are you, Josh, for this match?
I mean, it's pretty funny. I mean, it's cool. I mean, you know, a lot of people actually don't know AJ actually used to be a wrestler. He was actually on the independent scene. That's actually how he basically you could say like his career started. He's been he was an independent wrestler, and I think he's been like in and out of it the last recent years. But ever since like this Costco thing has blown up, he's been more involved with independent wrestling again. He's been getting a lot of bookings off of that as well. So, I mean, when it comes to that, yeah, I get it. You know, a lot of the stuff that him and his kid are doing is goofy, but it's harmless, in my opinion. But, I mean, it's cool for them. I mean, it's good exposure for him, you know. He's never gotten a big opportunity, at least when it comes to wrestling like this. So this is obviously his biggest opportunity to, you know, like, doesn't even have to be a good match. You know, it's something that he accomplished. Good for him.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy for him. And it's on 0 hour, so it's harmless.
Yeah.
If it was on the main show.
Yeah, doesn't take
if it was on the main show, I would have a problem.
Bro, like the shit is on YouTube, bro. Like no harm, no foul. Like
have your fun. Have your fun, you know? Go viral for this. Why don't you? Why don't? But finally, for AEW, the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that AEW and WBD are in negotiations and are close to getting a TV deal for Ring of Honor. The rumored home for ROH, if the deal happens, would be True TV. The cable network is in the process of transitioning into a sports channel in primetime and would need new content. It's believed that the reason Chris Jericho won the Ring of Honor world title last week is to present him as the face of the brand during negotiations due to him being the biggest star.
That expired 5 years ago.
That's right.
I will let y'all know, to pull back the curtain a little bit. I was told at least a month and a half ago that AEW is extremely confident they're going to get this deal done, and that is going to be on True TV. I don't know what that's going to mean for the product, because the product needs to improve greatly. They did like a 3-hour show this week that just mind-blowed me. It mind-fucked me because it did not need to be that long, and they need to streamline stuff, cut some stuff out. They need a better editor for this show, because they just tape matches, they throw on some matches, some stuff has consequences, a lot of stuff doesn't, and it feels like a fucking mishmash of things. Tony needs to give the reins to someone else in creative and let them do Ring of Honor.
And they need to just stop fucking doing Ring of Honor on the same night as Dynamite, because no one cares.
Yeah. Like same night as Dynamite or Collision. Go to a place, go to Universal Studios.
Yeah. From a fan perspective, you're not going to one. If it's after the fucking show, you're not staying for it. If it's before the show, everyone's at concession, so you don't have a crowd. So like, it just makes no sense logically to have a brand that this is near and dear to our hearts. Ring of Honor, like this is so near and dear, and it has literally become like main event, and that's pathetic. That's so pathetic what it's become. And it's probably not due to the athletes not trying. It's literally you need a fucking crowd to help the show. That you literally need a crowd to help the show. And usually they don't have a crowd because they're all in the fucking bathrooms and concessions and at the merch stands getting shit to get ready for the show that they paid to see. They don't say the gates open at 6:30. They say the gates open at 7. The show's already fucking underway.
If it's going to be its own show, you need to help it and just call it AEW Ring of Honor. Like the AEW brand name is bigger than Ring of Honor. Like they need to accept that. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
And it just needs to be, you need to treat it like it's NXT. And that you put your young stars on there, you build around them. You can have some veterans that are regulars on Ring of Honor, but it needs to be about elevating the younger stars.
So essentially, it's like stop treating wrestling fans like we're fucking stupid and making them think that we're two separate companies. We know that it's AEW TV. We know that it's AEW. It's okay. It is okay. No need to fully, if you're not going to fully separate it, then yeah, do exactly what you said and fucking embrace it. Embrace the fucking merge.
Yeah.
Didn't TK say a while back he was gonna do that? Like he was gonna like name it that, saying like AEW presents like Ring of Honor or something like that. Like was
yeah,
it?
he's finally kind of warming up to that idea, but he hasn't pulled the trigger.
And bro, they're not even making money off of the Ring of Honor brand because they're literally a part of the bought ticket for Dynamite. Like just fucking put it in a smaller building and fucking sell it as a separate show. People will fill up a fucking 2,000 seat arena. Like it ain't like hard. Like, come on, y'all been in the game for how long? Just fucking put it in a smaller venue where you'll have more impactful fans that will react to it much better.
That are coming there for Ring of Honor.
Like go there for Ring of Honor. Advertise Ring of Honor if you're not gonna fucking merge it. Yeah. Like this ain't rocket. Wrestling is not rocket science most of the time.
And I agree with Call Me Mr. Bonda, who says it also doesn't help that ROH only has 3 pay-per-views a year, making weekly TV feel like a drag. If you're going to do the rankings consistently, use it on Ring of Honor. Totally agree with both of those points because, yes, the fact that it only has 3 pay-per-views, it's so fucking long of a fucking gap, especially Death Before Dishonor to Final Battle. Death Before Dishonor happens in July, and then your next
Final Battle is in December. Yeah,
like,
I'm coming at least do once a quarter. Like, geez,
do 4 shows.
Like,
do Glory. You have Glory. Glory by Honor is a name that they haven't even used yet in the Tony Khan era. Use that in like September or October.
Bro, wrestling ain't rocket science, bro. It ain't rocket science.
They make shit so difficult for themselves.
But how you skip an entire quarter? Like what? So you're telling me the whole gap between like July and November doesn't mean shit?
Like, pretty much. We do have another super chat donation from Chuck Berries. You guys are killing it today. We appreciate y'all for showing your support. He says everybody loves the Acclaim. Nah, everybody loves Anthony Bowens. Max Caster got 0 pop when he said it. Absolutely, because I was so happy for this segment. I was like, finally, y'all are hearing me. I've been saying it for months. Split these niggas up. So I got so happy watching that segment on Collision.
Yo, I'm telling you, bro. Max Cass, I don't know if this is even like medically possible. He needs to go to see like a vocal doctor and fucking get surgery on his vocal cords, because the minute he talks, you are immediately ready to yell at him, shut the fuck up, stop talking. Like his sound is fucking, you know, when nails go on a chalkboard, that his voice is fucking so cringy. Like it makes nothing he says sound good. Like he could cut the most killer promo, but just it coming from his voice, it is terrible. Like, oh my God, I hate hearing him talk. like it is so egregiously nauseating hearing him talk.
I agree. Oh man. Like it's just like, dude, just turn heel. You're a heel already to many of us. So just embrace it. But you had ROH TV very quickly finishing up the converse here. The show featured Athena defeating Abaddon in a wildly entertaining Ring of Horrors match to retain the ROH Women's World Championship. This didn't make my matches of the week, but I would say this is the one match that probably is an audible mention this week. This was so much fun and violent. You had screws, you had fucking thumbtacks, you had the fucking Athena doing the O-face, the eclipse onto a row of steel chairs. She did that on Abaddon. That shit looked so cool of a finish. Infantry officially joined Shane Taylor Promotions, turning heel. This led to Infantry beating SAP in a decent little match. Beef and JD Drake had their first tag team match, defeating Preston Vance and Pretty Peter Avalon. Commander beat Arya Davari, and Tomohiro Ishii beat Josh Woods on the show as well. But finishing up with the converse and moving over to Japan very quickly, you had the New Japan Pro Wrestling's Super Junior Tag League final week. You had day 3, which featured probably the best matches in the entire tournament. You had Bullet Club War Dogs defeating TMDK's Ishiban Sweet Boys in an outstanding tag team matchup. I say go out of your way to watch this one because this was one of the best tag team matches of the damn year here. You also had Intergalactic Jet Setters defeated Bullet Club's Robbie X and Taiji Ishimori in a solid match. Roppongi Revice beat Catch 2-2 in a great main event. Day 4 had Ichiban Sweet Boys beating LIJ in a pretty fun main event. Bullet Club defeated Roppongi Revice in a decent match, while LIJ's Shingo Takagi and Yota Tsuji defeated TMDK's Zack Sabre Jr. and Roy Uyowa in a great non-tournament tag team matchup. Day 5 featured Skateboard Bros beating Bullet Club War Dogs in a big upset of the tournament. House of Torture defeated LIJ. Ichiban Sweet Boys beat Tiger Suicida. J6 featured Catch 2-2 defeating the Bullet Club's Taiji Ishimori and Robbie X in a fun main event. The Velocities picked up their biggest win in a big upset over the IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions, Intergalactic Jet Setters. DKC and Ninja Mac beat Roppongi Revice. Day 7 featured LIJ beating Bullet Club War Dogs in a solid main event. Taige Suicida defeated Skateboard Bros. Ichiban Sweet Boys beat House of Torture for TMDK's duo to move on to the Super Junior Tag League Finals. Robbie Eagles and Kosei Fujita. Then day 8 featured Intergalactic Jet Setters defeating Roppongi Revice in a good main event. You also had the Bullet Club's Robbie X and Taiji Ishimori picked up a win over the Velocities, and Catch 2-2 defeated Ninja Mac and the DKC for TJP and Francisco Akira to move on to the finals. They will face the Ichiban Sweet Boys at Power Struggle on Monday. And in New Japan news, you had Konosuke Takeshita is returning to New Japan Pro Wrestling and will compete at the Fighting Spirit Unleashed show and Strong Style Evolved come in December, who said that he will be competing at the shows which take place on November 8th and December 15th. He said that he will defend the AEW International Championship against anyone willing to challenge him. So that should be a good one. Konosuke Takeshita, man, one of the best wrestlers in the world. And then finally, TNA had TNA Bound for Glory. That was last Saturday. Me and Josh did a great review on that on the channel. The show featured the Hardys defeating the System and ABC and Full Metal Mayhem to win the TNA World Tag Team titles. Yes, the Hardys are tag team champions again. In one of the dumbest moves by TNA, I think, in the company's history, they had Nick Nemeth beat Joe Hendry to retain the TNA World Championship thanks to interference from JBL. Yes, we had a show with Bubba Ray Dudley and JBL over the last weekend. Speedball Mike Bailey defeated El Hijo del Vikingo in a terrific encounter to retain the X Division Championship. Mike Santana defeated Moose in a great heavyweight slugflex. You had Josh Alexander beat Steve Macklin in a good bout. Frankie Kazarian won the Call Your Shot Gauntlet by last eliminating TNA Hall of Famer Rhino.
Spitfire beat Rosemary and Wendy Chu and to retain the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. Masha Slamovich defeated Jordan Grace in a fantastic bout to win the TNA Knockouts World Championship. Go out of your way to watch that one as well. TNA Impact this week, you had Frankie Kazarian coming out dressed as Joe Hendry, and he was interrupted by Hendry, who was pissed off after getting screwed at Bound for Glory with Kaz, JBL, and even Nick Nemeth. Nick Nemeth said he had plausible deniability about what happened at BFG, and this led to the system's Eddie Edwards and JDC beating Nemeth and Hendry after a miscommunication between the two babyfaces, which led to Edwards pinning the TNA World Champion. Masha Slamovich was jumped by Alicia Edwards and Tasha Steelz until Jordan Grace made the save to set up a tag team matchup on next week's show. Steve Macklin, Eric Young, and Jonathan Gresham defeated Josh Alexander and the Good Hands. First Class beat the Rascals. Ash by Elegance defeated Danny Luna. And Speedball Mike Bailey challenged Moose to face him for the X Division Championship on next week's show after giving a pep talk to Trent Seven. So a lot went down from TNA this week, but nobody's really talking about all of that. All of our thoughts, prayers, and what we're going to focus on from TNA is about Chris Bay this week. He suffered an apparent injury during Sunday's TNA Impact taping. Closing the show, it was ABC versus the Hardys. Bay was out after the finish in what appeared to be a mistimed spot. Bay had his neck collared and put on a stretcher, and he was stretchered out of the building. You also had El Hijo del Vikingo also suffered an injury on that show as well, but Fightful Select reports that Bay was taken to the hospital with a neck injury and subsequently had surgery on his neck. He is currently in recovery, but other details will be kept private. Bay is said to be loved backstage in TNA and was a big part of the company fixing its reputation and relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. NJPW requested him for dates after years of not working with the promotion. TNA has provided medical updates on Bay. They issued a statement saying that Bay was recovering after surgery. Chris Bay also issued a statement himself on his condition, saying, "I just want to take a few moments to extend my heartfelt thanks and deepest appreciation for so much and to so many over the past few days, from everyone at TNA Wrestling to the incredible medical staff here in Detroit to family, friends, and fans worldwide." A GoFundMe campaign has been made to fund that to help his recovery. It said Chris Bay, the Ultimate Finesser TNA superstar, was injured during a pay-per-view. This fundraiser is to help him recover to ensure all his fans show some much-needed support. TNA announced that Chris Bay was resting in the hospital and underwent an MRI procedure. He was said to be in good spirits, talking and joking as well. A number of great wrestling veterans also contribute to the GoFundMe. Matt Hardy contributed $3,000, Karrion Kross $3,000, Chris Jericho $2,500, Cody Rhodes $2,000, Nick Nemeth $2,000, Matt Cardona $1,000, Will Ospreay, Raj Desi, and QT Marshall also donated $1,000. Jordan Grace and Jonathan Gresham donated $1,000, and Mercedes Moné contributed over $800. TNA Wrestling announced a What a Not auction in support of the injured wrestler Chris Bay. The auction will take place next Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And additionally, Pro Wrestling Tees released a new T-shirt for Bay that's available at the website, and all proceedings of the T-shirt sales will go directly to Chris Bay. So all the thoughts, condolences, and best wishes to Chris Bay. I hope he has a very, very speedy recovery, because it sounds like a very, very serious.
Can't hear.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
I can hear Top Guy. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I think my mic messed up. I'm sorry. Josh or JJ, any thoughts from you guys on Chris Bay?
Okay, now I can hear you. Okay, I was like,
I mean, it's unfortunate. It's just tough because, like, we don't know. I mean, I know he's okay at least now, but for a while it was kind of scary because we weren't hearing much and the information was very like vague. So I was like, I didn't want to think the worst of it, but it seems like it's very serious to the point that they don't really want to say what it is. They have every right to do that if that's the request that somebody made. That's totally okay. As long as as long as as long as he's still alive. I mean, nothing is more important than that. But if he ends up making a full recovery and he's able to still perform in the ring, that would be great. I'm just glad that he's okay. And also, I mean, props to everybody that's been contributing, like all the talent that's helped him out. Adam Copeland, I didn't expect that at all. He donated
$10,000.
$10,000. I thought that was like super nice of him. Because at the end of the day, like they're all performers, and I think anybody that knows any type of injuries, I mean, it's Copeland. So for him to even, to do that on his end, and we didn't know like he maybe knows Chris Bear or whatever. So I thought that was like very nice of him and everybody else who contributed to that. So all I would say is all the fans, like if you want to contribute, there's a GoFundMe. You could donate from that. Pro Wrestling Tees. You could also get a shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees. I think it's called We Love Bay. That's the shirt that basically, if you buy it, all the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds are going to Chris Bay. So if you guys want to support, I mean, that's the best way to do it.
Agreed there. Any thoughts from you, JJ?
Wow, I mean, just hearing about this recently, it's scary, man. Like, scary stuff, man. Like, we just literally sat there and just talked about somebody dealing with injuries and working their way to perform for us, to do this for us. And then this man basically had a life scare while performing for us. Like, it's you can't take this, you can't take any of these days for granted. You can't. And I'm just glad that he was able to send these messages and he was able to communicate in any way that what he's feeling, because thank God he's able to do that. It's never easy, man. Hearing anything that happens, especially somebody that you follow on TV monthly, weekly, however often you see any of these wrestlers. And obviously somebody is like, it seems like Chris Bay is such a good guy, and for the outpouring of support just kind of lets you see how good of a guy he is to the industry, and the industry is obviously better off with him in it. I just now learned about that, Josh, about the We Love Bay shirt. So I definitely think that that's a great way to not only kind of like show your support, but also support at the same time. Because if you are wearing that shirt, there's a reason that you're wearing it. Somebody can inquire about it, and you can kind of let the uninformed know about, a way to support. So I think that that's an excellent outlet and something I'm definitely more than likely going to do after the show, because I think being able to do something in any way usually is appreciated by the one you're supporting it for. So don't feel like inclined to think that we have to do anything level of matching anything like that, but just acknowledging like support for somebody that we follow these people. Like, this is part of our life, like no matter what we feel about it. Like this one, he's a good performer, good guy, and this almost got taken away from him and everything else. And I'm when hearing that he is in good spirits is like the best news of everything, is because he has such a high level on the mood elevator, despite of what happened. So that's really good to hear, because a lot of people, it goes the opposite way. like and I'm just, glad that he's doing like as good as he can. And like Josh said, that hopefully he does get to recover and, get to a place where he is comfortable with doing what he loves. Because, chances are when you're an athlete, you're going to do this until you can't. So more than likely, hopefully, and he's still a young guy. He's probably younger than all of us here. So just hopefully that he recovers and everything goes on the up from here on out.
100% agree with you there. But yeah, thoughts and prayers to Chris Bay. And like Josh said, go to Pro Wrestling Tees, the We Love Bay shirts, because that's a small way for you to kind of show your appreciation, because all the proceeds go to him. But let's wrap things up with the what we missed. And we got to go to Krssi Love's favorite time of the show, the best and worst of the week and match of the week. For best of the week, who had the best week this week? I'm going to give it to Private Party. Private Party, the 5-year journey of them winning the tag team titles, coming to the mountaintop of AEW. I got to give them the best of the week. And worst of the week, unfortunately, I probably have to I'm going to give it to Vince McMahon for that entertainment company. Yeah, fuck Vince McMahon. JJ?
Can I show it real quick? It's actually a really nice shirt.
Yeah.
So it's just really, really nice.
Love
really
it.
dope. And
Love
really
it.
fast and really fashionable too. So
yeah, there you go.
For people that wears clothes and shit, you're not losing any drip when you rock that. So yeah, it's really, really nice, and it's going to the best cause possible,
Yeah.
And it's just scary because of these people with their, when they do this and with this outpouring of support, you could tell that they're really not medically covered.
Yeah.
And that's the scariest thing ever, is that you could go through this and you're not medically covered. Like, so that influences a lot of people's decisions when they go to sinking ships or where they go to it's like, that protection.
Yeah.
So
you're 100% right. I'm actually going to change mine. My worst of the week, I'm going to give it to Joe Hendry because of getting screwed. I got to give it to Joe Hendry. I give it to Vince McMahon enough. Vince McMahon will do something else where he gets worst of the week. Josh, your best and worst of the week?
Best of the week, I'm gonna go with Private Party. Finally winning those AEW tag titles. It's a long time coming for those for them being day one members of the brand, and to finally win it.
Yes.
That was awesome to see. Worst of the week. Worst of the week. Dang, that's a hard one because I'm like, who should get worst of the week? I would say Joe Hendry, but it's not really his fault. You know what? I'll give it to TNA. I give it to TNA's creative.
That's fair. JJ, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with definitely best of the week. For me, it was Private Party. Like nothing felt better this week to me than seeing that. Like as far as from a wrestling perspective, other than us seeing a lot of these fake, not the real ones, a lot of the fake Yankee fans that was acting like they were in a somber mood for blowing a 5-0 lead. The fake ones is the ones that I laughed at vigorously. The actual Yankee fans, I felt terrible for. But those fake ones that come out of the woodworks only in October, yeah, fuck y'all. Yeah, y'all deserve the grief. But worst of the week, I'm gonna stick to the internet here, man. I'm gonna stick to those fucking internet fucks that decided to fuck with Adam Cole when he decided to finally try to make a comeback, man. Like he's trying to do what he loves, and then you got fucking people left, right, and out of the fucking woodworks, these little fake ass internet gangsters that won't say any of this shit to his face at all because they're too pussy to say it. And the internet people. And it ain't all the internet people that know who they are. Fuck you. Yeah, y'all the worst of the week.
Fair. Matches of the week. It was a busy week, so I have 10. I'll go through them fast. Number 10, Roppongi Revice versus Catch 2-2 from the Super Junior Tag League. Number 9, Santana versus Moose from TNA Bound for Glory. Number 8, Stephanie Vicaire and Julia versus Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade from NXT Halloween Havoc. Number 7, Fraxium versus Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander from NXT. Number 6, Kyle Fletcher versus Commander from last night's AEW Collision. Number 5, Speedball Mike Bailey versus Elio Del Vikingo from TNA Bound for Glory. Number 4, Cody Rhodes versus Gunther from WWE Crown Jewel. Number 3, Masha Slamovich versus Jordan Grace from TNA Bound for Glory. Number 2, Black Bullet Club War Dogs versus TMDK from Super Junior Tag League. And number 1, Private Party versus the Young Bucks from AEW Fright Night Dynamite. Josh.
I'm gonna go with the top 3. Number 3, I'm gonna go with Masha versus Jordan Grace. Great match, and also, Masha finally got her big moment as well. I don't want to take away from that. She's worked hard, and it was awesome to see seeing her finally get the big win, especially facing her best friend. A lot of people don't know like their relationship between her and Jordan Grace, so that was fun to see. Number 2, I'm gonna go with Cody versus Gunther. I thought that was a fantastic match from last night. It's just like I felt like something else should have been on the line, not that bullshit title that they made up that they're not gonna hold because it'll stay in the country for whatever reason. And number 1, I'm gonna go with Private Party versus the Young Bucks for the big title win for Private Party.
JJ,
that's actually a really good one, Chuck Barris. That's actually a really good one. I'm tired of seeing this chick run out to the fucking ring and do nothing. So tired of it. I am so tired of it. That was actually a really good honorable mention there. I think I'm gonna go. I didn't see as much wrestling as y'all this week. I do need to go watch Bound for Glory because I did love the Joe Hendry entrance, so I need to just see that and then just see what the rest of the card was like. My man came out like Eminem, so I need to see that.
The show was good. The show was good. The show was good. It's just that, it's just the booking, and like the last 2 matches probably should have been reversed. Like that tag match should have main evented, in our opinion, and Joe Hendry should have gotten the win. That's
I'm already. Yeah, the fact that I'm seeing future clips that Joe Hendry is not the champion is fucking blasphemy. I don't know what the fuck to say about that. Like this iron is gonna fucking lose all of its fucking steam, and you're not gonna fucking cash in on any of it. But anyway, that's TNA's problem. My 3, I'm gonna show my man Shelton Benjamin some love with his match against Swerve Strickland on Dynamite. Number 2, I'm gonna go Cody versus Gunther. Because thank God that shit was on the fucking card. And number 1, definitely Private Party, Young Bucks. Best moment of the week goes to Private Party, and the match of the week goes to Private Party. So great week for Private Party. Let's go. Awesome.
Great week of wrestling. A lot of really good shows, a lot of great pay-per-views and weekly shows this week. So for sure. And then we're going to close off this edition of the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast with some rapid fire predictions. New Japan Pro Wrestling has 2 major shows this week. You got Power Struggle tomorrow morning. It's the last major show in Japan for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And a big announcement was made this week as Kenny Omega will be back in New Japan Pro Wrestling tomorrow on the Power Struggle show. He will be a special guest appearance. And I'm thinking my prediction is he's going to announce a match for Wrestle Kingdom, and he's going to be in a big match for Wrestle Kingdom. And I would say it probably should be against Gabe Kidd, because Kenny Omega is known for putting over the next Gaijin star, and that next Gaijin star is probably Gabe Kidd. But you also got, it's going to be a 10-man tag featuring the Super Junior Tag League participants. You got the Jet Setters teaming up with Velocities and I believe Morishima to face the Bullet Club War Dogs and the Bullet Clubs, Taiji Ishimori and Robbie X. You also got an 8-man tag, as it's going to be LIJ, Naito, Suji, Hiromu, and Bushi versus Chaos's Toriyanu, Honma, Rasuke Taguchi, and Dragon Daya. You got in a singles match, this will be the first one we predict, is going to be Shoto Aminu one-on-one with Sonata. A lot of people saying the winner of this matchup will face the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion at Wrestle Kingdom, and I think that needs to be Shoto Aminu, who turns heel at Power Struggle. Josh, who you got?
I think I'm gonna go with Shota.
JJ?
You got me lost here, man. But I'm just gonna go with Sonata. I have no idea what the fuck is going on in this.
You got Hiroshi Tanahashi will team up with Bolton Oleg to verse Evil and Ren Narita. You got for the IWGP World Tag Team Champions is going to be TMDK versus Great Okan and Hanare of United Empire. I got TMDK here. JJ?
Yeah, anything against Great Okan, I'm with that. So yes, let's go. TMDK. Fuck is that guy on the screen this long for?
Josh?
TMDK.
Then you got the Super Junior Tag League Finals. Is going to be the Ichiban Sweet Boys of TMDK, Robbie Eagles, and Kosei Fujita versus Catch 22, TJP, and Francisco Akira. I'm going to go with TMDK here as well to win the tournament. Josh?
Same, TMDK.
Top guy, JJ?
Yeah, TMDK, because TJP is fucking trash.
Don't do that. TJP is not. Don't listen to this man. Then you got for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, it's going to be Doki defending against Master Wato. I think this is finally the time Master Wato is going to win the title. Josh?
Same. Finally time to do it. You gotta pull the trigger now.
JJ?
Master Wato looks like a final boss. You know what? There's a guy on the left, he looks scared as shit already, so I'm gonna go with Master Wato.
Then you got for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, David Finlay defends against Tai Chi. I'm going with David Finlay here. JJ?
Yeah, the other guy won't even show his face, so I'm gonna go with David Finlay.
Josh?
I'm going with Finlay.
And then the main event, this should be instant classic. It's going to be Zack Sabre Jr. defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Shingo Takagi. I got Zack Sabre Jr. JJ?
Fuck, this is going to be a fucking banger. But yeah, somehow Zack Sabre Jr. finds a way to win these matches. So I think Zack Sabre is going to beat this. And he's going to get fucked up, but he's going to win.
Josh?
Zach retains. He's not dropping the title anytime soon.
Nah, I think he's going to definitely hold it going into Wrestle Kingdom. And then you got Fighting Spirit Unleashed. That will be on Friday in the U.S. That's going to be in Lowell, Massachusetts. You got Fred Rosser and Tom Lawler versus Joel Nelson and Royce Isaac in a 2 out of 3 falls matchup. You got Kenta going one-on-one with Roye Uyoa of TMDK. You got this one will be the first one we predict. Mustafa Ali versus Leo Rush. Who you got, Josh?
I got Ali.
JJ?
Yeah, you catch me dead picking Leo Rush in the match. I'm going Mustafa Ali.
This guy just stay wildin'. I got Mustafa Ali as well, though. Then you got the IWGP.
Then you agree.
Global Heavyweight Champion David Finlay will face Kevin the Jet Knight. I think Finlay gets the win here. JJ?
Oh, that's our boy Kevin Knight. God damn. That's fucking tough. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go with Kevin Knight. Let's go.
Josh?
I'm gonna go with Finlay.
Then you got a 4-way to determine the number 1 contender for Mercedes Moné's NJPW Strong Women's Championship. It's going to be Trish Adora, Hazuki from Stardom, Konma from Stardom, and Anna Jay from AEW. I am actually going to go with Hazuki here. Josh?
Damn, this is a good one. I'm going to go with the same, Hazuki.
JJ?
I'm going to go with the girl wearing the gold and blue.
That's Konma. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not repeating that.
Then you got for the NJPW Strong Tag Team Championships, TMDK will defend against the Grizzled Young Veterans. I'm going to go with GYV here. JJ?
I'm going with fucking who's the champs again?
TMDK.
TMDK, yeah, because the GYV just goes everywhere and loses. So I'm not picking them.
It's true.
Josh?
I got the champions retaining. That's a good point. That's what I'm like.
They literally
I think it'll be a fun matchup.
Every promotion.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun matchup.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a fun matchup at least.
And then we got for the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship, Gabe Kidd will defend against TMDK's Kosei Fujita. I'm going with Gabe Kidd to retain because he's going to face Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom. Josh?
Gabe Kidd, he retains.
JJ?
Yeah, TMDK can't win every match. Going to go with Gabe Kidd here.
Fair enough, but we'll have a full preview for Fighting Spirit Unleashed coming up this week on the channel with me and Jay News. But that's going to bring us to a close on this very long edition, this jam-packed super edition.
Go vote, motherfuckers.
Yes,
go vote.
Yes.
Go
yes.
vote. Don't complain
you need to
about
vote
it and not vote.
You need to vote for me since I'm not going to make it back in time. I need all of everyone watching. If you're watching us live, you're watching us on demand. If you made it all the way through this podcast, if there's one thing we want you to do, go out and vote. Have your voices be heard because we need it for this election.
Oh my God, we fucking do.
But thank you guys. Oh, you've already voted? So, yes.
Yep.
See, follow these two examples. They've already voted. So, you guys need to vote.
I haven't voted officially yet. I'm voting today.
No, I already voted, and I'm not afraid to say who I voted for. Wasn't Donald Trump. I voted for Kamala Harris.
There you go. There you go. Thank you, Safet, in the chat saying they voted. Yes, if you're watching us on demand, let us know in the comments down below if you voted. Please, you don't have to say who you voted for, but just say if you voted. JJ, thank you so much for showing up. A big surprise for us and making the show always entertaining with your rants and your opinions and shitting on Leo Rush. JJ, the floor is yours. Let everybody know where they can follow you.
And TJP. Fucking bomb.
Yeah, TJP.
On Instagram, you can find me at Tru Heel _Top Guy JJ. And on YouTube, you can find me here with the guys here. I will actually be back here in about 3 weeks. About 3 weeks. So this was my
if you have time on Sunday, we're doing Sunday again next week. So
the next I'm running a staff meeting on Sunday, so I'm gonna be at work.
Fair.
So unfortunately, I won't be here next Sunday, but I will be back on the 23rd of November. That is my next week that I know I have that Saturday off, so I'll be back on the 23rd of November. That was my scheduled appearance. This was unscheduled.
Josh, thank you as always for joining me. Let everybody know where they can follow you.
You can follow me, JamPunk321, Twitter and Instagram, and I'll be back next weekend for THH 302, and it's on Sunday, right? You said?
Yes, next Sunday.
All right, that works out for me because I might go out Saturday. I might go to the convention. Not too sure yet. Most likely, I don't know. I'm 50-50 about it, so that actually works out for me.
Yes. And most likely next Sunday will be my first THH back in the States, back on Eastern time. So I won't be closing the show in the evening here in the UK next week. That's why we had to move it from Sunday because I will probably be back in the States by then. But you can follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Tru Heel Heat. Patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. The best place to support us when we are not live here. And check out all the great content we got on the channel. Our WWE Crown Jewel review. All of y'all watched it yesterday, but if you haven't already, go over and check that out if you want a full breakdown of what went down in Saudi Arabia yesterday. And check out our preview for Power Struggle as well before tomorrow morning show. But for JJ, for the True Jaw Josh, for our producer, Baby Seth, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat 301, released into the heart. We are signing off until next time.
Fucking Bubba.